Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 621. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. Welcome back, Zach.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah, how was your
I missed you guys.
PTO from Cinereelists?
It was good, but it was.
Bring Zach back. Bring Zach back. Bring
It
Zach back. Bring Zach.
It was UPTO.
UPTO?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't get paid time off?
No.
Oh, James, I'm sorry. I let the cat out the bag.
It was great. I went to Puerto Rico and I went to North Carolina.
Which one is better, Zach?
Yes.
We have to know.
You got to go back to one.
There must be one winner.
They're both amazing.
Oh, come on.
They're both amazing.
Spoken like a tree key to the city recipient.
It's a tree. It's
True.
Okay.
both America.
Yes,
Sure.
they are.
Technically. One's a state, though.
That's right. One is a state. You're right. It was cool.
Zach prefers representation with taxation.
I think you get taxed less in Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably less tax.
Yeah.
But they still pay tax.
For sure. There's a bunch of like online influencers that have moved their operations to Puerto Rico because of the taxes there.
There you
which
go.
is pretty wild. I'm thinking about moving there for those reasons.
For those
To Puerto
reasons?
Rico?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just my operations, not myself, just the operations part.
Oh, just the operate. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. So you'll be headquartered in Puerto Rico.
Like you literally have to spend like a certain amount of time there, and they literally track their time to make sure that they're in Puerto Rico like 40% of their year. And then they fly back and forth, and they save money doing that despite the flying back and forth constantly.
Well,
Which
the
to me is
flying is
wild.
very, very inexpensive.
That's what I'm saying. Like on top of flying back and forth, they're still saving money by doing
Well, I
that.
believe it because the flying is very inexpensive.
Oh, inexpensive.
Inexpensive.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you said expensive.
No,
So did I.
inexpensive. That's why I went. It was like so cheap.
Gotcha. How cheap? What are we talking? $200?
Oh no, like $80,
$80. All right.
round trip.
Is this from like a reputable airline?
Frontier.
Okay, so it's Frontier.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
but it's like a less than 2-hour flight.
I know, but it's okay. I guess 2 hours on Frontier is doable.
Yeah, was for me. Although the
Like-
time was not reputable. I left
Why?
at 11 p.m. and I arrived at 2:30 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Well, that's not Frontier's fault.
Well,
That's just the schedule you chose. You chose
That is-
the red eye.
I did. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, when you're traveling those long distances, you want to get there early in the morning to really adjust. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I didn't face any jet lag and that's
You were
time
just
zone.
tired.
I'm just tired. Yeah.
I
But I
recently
did go
bought
to the only tropical rainforest in the United States.
the only tropical rainforest in the United States.
Yeah.
Is Puerto Rico in the United States?
Yes.
I know it's a part of the United States.
Is
it in?
Guam in the United States?
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
I guess if you're gonna call Hawaii in the United States, though Hawaii is a state, however,
Right.
but
They're a state. That's why they're in the United
no,
States.
you're talking, but you're also talking about like the continental U.S.
No. I'm talking about being in a state. So
Why would
Hawaii,
it not be-
Alaska, those are in the United States. Guam, Puerto Rico, what are they
Are
called?
not-
Territories or something like that? I
Yeah,
forget
they're
what called.
territories of the United States.
But they're not in the United States.
Why not?
They're not a part. They're not a United State. They're not a state.
I didn't say they're a state. I didn't say they're one of the states.
But
So
they're not
they're
in the United States.
Okay,
if you're
so
in Puerto
James-
Rico, you're in the United States.
Yeah, is Washington D.C. in the United States?
It's the capital.
But is it in the United States? That's what I want to know.
I'm saying
Of
it's in
course
the
it is.
capital. It's
Okay.
the capital of the United States.
Yeah.
So if Washington D.C. is in the United States, then so is Puerto Rico.
Of course.
It's not the capital.
It doesn't matter if it's the capital or not. It's the designation as a territory.
All this to say, James is like, oh wait, is it tropical rainforest really in the United States? 'Cause it's in
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
He's like,
It's like where else is it? It's in the
speaking.
Netherlands. Yeah, it's in the United States,
No, it's in Puerto Rico.
which is in the United States.
Do you guys? I don't want a political answer. I'm just curious. Do
Sure.
you guys think Puerto Rico will become a state in our lifetime?
No.
No, but I think they should, but I don't think they will.
Oh yeah, no. Again, I don't want to get to the political side of things. I'm just
Sure.
asking if you think that'll happen in our lifetime.
Uh,
I'm optimistic. I think it will.
I don't think it will because I don't think anybody wants 51 states. I think we like 50. It's a nice round number. Once we hit 50, we were like, all right, we're done.
I mean,
and
we were
then-
48 for a good chunk of time.
I know. And then, like I said, once we got to 50, we were like, we're done. It's 50. It's a nice round number. No reason to add any more.
Yeah. Did I tell you that when I went to Europe, I often asked people how many states there were in the United States,
Okay.
and to a person, everyone thought we had 52 states.
Why? Because of Guam and Puerto Rico?
No, I imagine what was going through most people's heads was they've heard the 50 plus Alaska, Hawaii
And
is what they were
that,
doing.
yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm,
But everyone said
Interesting.
52.
interesting.
So for our international listeners, I just want to clarify, there's 50 U.S. states.
So you're just walking around testing people on U.S. history?
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can-
and then they're like, and how many provinces are there in France? You go, oh, 8? 30?
I know. Could you imagine if like a foreigner was just walking around your town, like asking people trivia
great.
from where they're from?
I would
Yeah.
love that.
Name the
Oh.
4 largest cities in Germany, my home country. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Love it. So you still haven't told us what's better, North Carolina or Puerto Rico?
Man, you know
I mean,
what?
North Carolina is like being in Orlando, basically, right? I mean, it's just
So,
the
honestly,
same
so
strip
was Puerto-
malls, the same.
So was
everything.
Puerto Rico.
Really?
Yeah, there's Dollar Generals across from CVS's.
Oh, really? Oh,
That's
no.
awful.
It's America.
It really is America. You proved it to me. I'm now convinced.
What did you do in Puerto Rico? Anything fun?
Yeah. So I went to the rainforest. I did
Mhm.
caving,
Okay.
which you're supposed to hire a guide for, but that was like $80. And so we just went ourselves.
Oh, yeah,
Which seems
that
very
always
dangerous.
turns out great to go by yourself in a cave.
Yeah, it seemed pretty dangerous, actually.
What's the difference between caving and spelunking?
It's the same.
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
As in caving, you weren't like using harnesses and ropes. You were just exploring.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These were level.
And did you have a map, or did you really just like find an entrance and say, let's just see where this goes?
We went to an area where we knew there were caves that you could hire tours to explore. And then we just walked around until we found one.
A tour or a cave to walk around?
A cave to explore, yeah.
And then
Okay.
you just was your wife aware that you were exploring caves unguided at the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you told her like, yeah, we're gonna go explore some caves. Is she getting guided?
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not gonna get a
I
guide.
did see spiders that literally were as big as my hand
Wow.
in the cave,
Oh yeah, I believe that.
which scared me more than like being in the cave.
Like
Then
close to
be
you or like way
trapped
up in the
Oh,
ceiling?
within 2 feet of me.
That would freak me out.
Are they poisonous?
I doubt it.
He doesn't know.
I doubted it. I
You
heard there's
doubted
no
it.
poison ivy on the island, and so I assume there's also no poisonous giant spiders.
Yeah,
Did-
right.
did
Because rainforests have nothing poisonous in them. That's
Were you just
well-known
walking
fact.
around touching all the plants?
Well, you can. There's no poison ivy.
You know, there's other poisonous plants besides poison ivy, correct? Is that the only one?
Well, there's. I think it's relatively safe in Puerto Rico for plant touching.
Okay. Except for the spiders and snakes that live on the plants you're touching.
Yeah, those are terrifying.
Yeah.
Did you post that video that you made
No,
from Puerto Rico? Oh, okay.
no.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Thought maybe we'd share with the listeners, but I guess not.
I'll throw it on the Discord.
Okay. All right.
My trip to Puerto Rico.
You haven't given us an answer, which is better, North Carolina or Puerto Rico, but I have noticed you didn't make a video of your trip to North Carolina. So
That's true. I didn't take a video in North Carolina.
what does that say? You didn't take a single video in North Carolina?
I probably did. I went to a library.
Why did you go
Ooh,
to
well,
North Carolina?
Did you get this guide for the library or just like, explored on your own?
I had a guide for the library.
Okay.
No, I went to go visit my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you touch any plants while you were there?
Mm,
No, they have
Probably.
poison ivy, North Carolina.
yeah, they definitely have poison ivy there.
Definitely not going to touch plants.
That'd be
there.
risky.
All right. Kyle, what have you been up to since last week?
Oh, not much. Oh,
Well-
I did go to a new state in the last week.
You did.
Yes.
Okay. What
yeah.
state?
I went to Kentucky.
Why?
Well, last week, my wife and I were in a glamping dome, which is exactly what you think
Sure.
it sounds like,
Right.
in southern Illinois.
Okay.
And Kentucky was like 45 minutes away. And there was a restaurant in Paducah, Kentucky, which is just over the border, that is run by a Top Chef contestant named Sarah Bradley. That is my wife's favorite Top Chef contestant. So she got us reservations at her restaurant, which is called the Freight House, I believe, in Paducah, Kentucky. And we drove there. And I'm surprised that Paducah, which is a town of like 25,000 people, can support such a nice restaurant.
Okay.
Like, it's not like fancy, but like it's definitely, I would say, a fancier restaurant than I expect a town of 25,000 to have.
Sure. Yeah, 25,000 is not a lot of
It's
people.
Not a lot of people, but it was a good restaurant. And we drove across a very old corrugated metal bridge to get between Illinois and Paducah, which my wife was unaware of. And she was driving across this bridge and having not a great time.
Is there like a high concentration of horse owners in Paducah?
I don't know about Paducah itself, but I would say that southern Illinois, where we were, was a lot of horse farms. So I imagine that Paducah area has a lot of horses too.
Right, which normally means a lot of money because you don't really have a lot of horses unless you have a lot of money, generally.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like southern Illinois was very rural, and you'd see some really nice ranches and areas, and then you'd see just next to that would be like a completely rundown house with all the trappings in the front yard you'd expect to find.
So since last week, you've been to Illinois and Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean Illinois. I've gone to actually. I went to Illinois then this past week also, so I go to Illinois often. That's only 2 hours away. Chicago's 2 hours away from our house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I want to live near Chicago.
Oh no, it's fun. Yeah, we on Friday, Galen had the day off, and we drove to Chicago. I took him to the Field Museum, and Megan got a tattoo from a traveling tattoo artist from San Francisco. that
Just
she's
like
been
a
following.
vagrant.
Yeah, no, not a vagrant. No, this is just from some guy on the
You,
street.
you stopped at a stoplight and she got a quick tattoo.
Yeah, no. There was this tattoo artist who does henna tattoo,
Mm-hmm.
if you're familiar with that style,
Absolutely.
who's based out of San Francisco, but she was in Chicago for like a weekend, doing work. So making an appointment with her, and I took Galen to the Field Museum, which was super fun.
Nice. So Megan got a henna tattoo, not like a normal tattoo.
No. This is a normal tattoo
Gotcha.
in the henna design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's very cool.
Crazy.
How about you, James? You've been to any states?
No, I haven't left the house.
Okay.
No, I went on vacation like a couple weeks ago. I went to Disney for my sister's 40th birthday and then got sick and then stayed indoors for 2 weeks. And then this past week has just been like jamming on work, just trying to get caught up, get back to normal life. But this was the first week that I actually felt normal, which is great.
Oh, I thought you didn't feel that sick.
I don't feel that sick as far as like symptoms. I just feel tired. It was COVID. So like I'm used to getting sick and then I'm sick for like a day and then you have like a day or two of getting better. This COVID stuff just like burns all your energy. And and if you're not a person that expends that much energy anyway, then like just sitting around tires you. When you are at least my experience was just sitting around made me really tired. And this was the first week where I was like, all right, I feel good. I can get around. It also didn't help this weekend that it rained for 2 days solid. It's still raining here in Orlando. And when you have a dog to walk, it really sucks because there's literally been no windows without rain for 2 days here in Orlando.
We have a petting zoo coming tomorrow to our house.
Oh, really?
And I really hope it stops raining.
Yeah.
Are you recreating like Mrs. Doubtfire? Is Julie aware of this petting zoo?
It's Julie's petting zoo.
She
Like, it's
owns
called-
a petting zoo?
She ordered it up.
Is there a reason or just because?
She bought like an hour petting zoo at a charity auction.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so you set up a party and invite all your kids' friends, and they come and they play with the animals for an hour. So they're coming to our house tomorrow.
I mean, even if it was to stop raining right now, the ground is so wet right now.
I know. I think these animals are going to destroy our front yard.
I think
Yeah,
that's
you
a
think?
possibility
Yeah.
for sure.
What's the coolest animal advertised in the zoo?
I mean, they got everything. Goat, cow, chickens, rabbits, Yeah, those things. It's going to
That's
be
a
a
turkey.
party. A pig.
A pig, okay.
Yeah.
But nothing like a camel or a zebra or an alligator.
No, it's all farm animals.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you can farm zebra.
Yeah, but I don't.
Well, I know you don't.
Yeah.
What petting zoo have you been to where there was a zebra? Kyle?
That's what Kyle thinks a petting zoo is like. He's
Yeah.
like,
a zebra.
Yeah, Megan's work does a company picnic a company picnic every summer.
and they have
Their
a pet a
petting zoo.
zebra.
They had a zebra. Yeah.
They had a zebra.
That you could just walk around a stall with and pet.
It was like in an enclosure.
They would not let you pet a zebra.
I mean, you could put your hands through the enclosure if you wanted to.
Sure, but it's not like a corral that you walk around in and there's
No.
animals to pet.
I feel like a zebra would bite you.
There is a
Yeah.
fence between you and the zebra.
Right.
Right,
There's a reason
but-
why there's no horses or donkeys.
You're not supposed to touch the zebra, right?
Well, then why did they make the fence so little hands could fit through it?
Did you let Galen pet the zebra?
Of course.
No.
No, I mean,
Don't
that's
believe it.
fine. If the thing can't even move to bite you or anything like that, that makes sense to me. It's
No,
fine, but
it had some range.
Kyle's advocating for putting a zebra in a closet so that nobody pets it, evidently.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Enough of
This
this.
is what the show
foolishness,
is
guys.
today.
It is, for sure. This is what happens, Zach, when you disappear for 2 weeks. We have
Yeah.
20
Next
minutes
week-
of catch up,
Next week there's going to be rigid schedule.
for sure. Definitely.
Ooh, can I make an Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah,
Please.
of course.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
This week, speaking of movies, we're going to talk the top 10 movies that start with the letter B. Because it's February and there's nothing in theaters worth going to see that we haven't already seen. Before we jump into that, we need to remind you that there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Go check it out. Search Cinereelists and subscribe. Watch while you listen. You could support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Cinereelists. Support the show on Patreon and get extra after show audio. Also, leave us an Apple podcast review, 5 stars only. We'd appreciate that. Or send us an email to heyguys@cinereelists.com, REEL with an S on the end. Also, the Oscars are coming up. The Oscars are on March 10th, which is about 2 weeks from now or so, 3 weeks from now, something like that. And as we've done in the past, we're going to do Oscar predictions next week on the podcast. And we'd like for you guys to join in on our annual, although we didn't do it last year, but I'm still going to say annual, Oscar pick competition. Now, how do you get involved? I know that's what you're asking yourself. Here's the answer. In the description of this episode, either on the podcast app of your choice or on YouTube, look in the description. There's a link right there to a website called oscarpicks.app. Click that link. That will take you directly into the Cinereelists group. Register for the site and make your Oscar picks there. And we'll have a little friendly competition amongst listeners and the 3 of us.
I also just put the link on the Discord server.
Nice. You can find it there as well, evidently. All right. You guys ready to jump into the top 10 movies that start with the letter B?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. The last time we did this was way back in episode 584 when we did the top 10 movies that start with the letter A.
And I was not present for that episode.
Oh, you weren't? You've never done one
No.
of these?
Yeah, you guys started the series without me.
Yes. We should have continued it without you. That would have been hilarious. Can you guys guess what movie I've seen that has the most number of bees in it?
No, but I'm dying to know.
Wait, no, not Benjamin Button.
I would guess mine is Bumblebee. That's 3.
That only has got 2 B's.
What?
Bumblebee
Bumble's
has
got 3
4
Bs.
B's.
B-U-M-B. Bumblebee has 3
Bumblebee
Bs.
has 3 B's. Look,
Bumble-
guys, this is going to be a long episode.
Bumblebee has 4 B's.
No, the letter B.
Oh,
we're
not
talking about.
okay. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh,
3 Bs.
technically 4, though. You're right, Zach. It has 4 B's.
No,
No, it is 3 B's.
A B and a B are different things, guys.
I'm just
We're talking about
saying, there is
or
a B in there.
That's what I'm
Is,
saying.
is Bumblebee even a B?
No, he's a car, but he's shaped.
Yeah.
He's colored like a bumblebee
Okay, so anything yellow is a B now?
and black.
Okay.
Okay. I've seen 2 movies that have 4 B's in them
Wow.
each.
Okay. Is it all in the same word?
No.
Yeah, I really want to get this. Are these movies we've heard of?
Both of them, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do they start with the letter B?
No, none of them do.
Oh, well, that makes it tougher.
Bringing Up Baby only had 3 B's.
Okay.
I'm looking at my B movies, and I don't see any that have that many.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Well, it doesn't start with B, so you're not going to find it. In your
I
B
will
movies.
I will say I was surprised that the most number of B's in a movie title of movies I've seen was only 4. That seems so little.
I mean, B's not a terribly. It's. I guess it's a middle common letter.
Yeah, but it's
It's not like
often-
a vowel.
It's true. It's not like
Yeah.
a vowel.
It's more of a consonant.
Okay.
Thank you.
One of them is 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Okay. 3 billboards. Yep.
Sure.
And the other one surprisingly is Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. See, you need those double B's in there.
Exactly. Yeah, Bobby's doing a lot of heavy lifting on that one.
Yep.
For sure. I don't even know how you would search that. How did you search that?
I made a spreadsheet and
Make
I
a
counted the
spreadsheet.
bees.
Yeah.
You
You make
counted
a
the bees?
No.
Oh, you made
I-
a formula that's
A
like,
formula. can
yeah.
do
tell
that.
me how many bees. Okay.
Yeah.
Count it.
Nerd.
I like a good spreadsheet.
I was looking at all the movies that start with a B that I've seen, and I saw some trends. Did you guys see trends in yours?
I didn't look for trends, but
I've seen 25 movies that start with the word black.
oh, interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen
Interesting.
16 movies that start with the word bad and 12 that start with the word big.
Okay. First of all, how many B movies have you seen? Because I have seen 186.
I've seen 308, which coincidentally, or that's not really an appropriate word, but that's 70 more than the A movies I've seen.
I've seen 3 Beauty and the Beast films.
I think I might have you beat.
For Beauty and the Beast films?
Yeah. Let me organize by name.
Yeah, you guys are way more prepared for this than I am.
That's
like
fine.
you have all this data and I didn't see. Again, new to the whole list. I was unaware.
I only have 3. So
Is there an
we're
easy way in
tied.
Letterboxd to figure out all your B movies, or do you have to do this with a spreadsheet, which I don't have right now?
I did it with a
I've,
spreadsheet.
I've seen 5 movies that start with the color blue.
blue.
Let's start with the color blue.
Yeah. How many of them
Blue
can you
Velvet.
guess?
Blue
Blue
Ruin.
Velvet, yeah. Blue Ruin, Blue Velvet?
Blue chips.
No, haven't
Blue
seen
is
it.
the warmest color.
Nope, haven't seen it.
Blue jasmine.
Blue Jasmine?
Blue streak.
No.
Blue Valentine.
Blue Valentine?
Oh,
We
that's
need
what I was
one
thinking.
more.
Blue
That's
Valentine.
all I
more.
got.
It's
I
all-
was reading mine. That was not off. The
Ah, you,
Mine were from memory. Thank you.
Blue Like Jazz is the other one.
Blue Crush.
Nope.
Blue
haven't seen
Light
it.
Jazz.
Blue Like Jazz.
Oh, I've never heard of that movie.
Me neither. So yeah, I've seen 8 Blue movies.
Wow. How many big movies have you seen?
A lot. I think
Seen
that was one of
7.
the ones. I've seen 12.
12 bigs.
Yeah.
Nice.
You want to hear them?
Yeah.
Is one big?
I'm certainly one of them is big.
Big
I
night.
imagine. We've got Big Daddy, Big Eyes, Big Fan, Big Fish, Big Hero 6, Big Man Japan, Big River Man, Big Top Pee Wee, Big Trouble in Little China, Bigger, Faster, Stronger, and Biggie and Tupac.
Nice. Nice. I've seen 7 Batmans.
Wow.
Wait, with just the title Batman in it?
I mean,
well,
I've
let's start with Batman.
probably
Okay, so
seen
like
that
things
many.
like Dark Knight don't count.
Yeah. So just
Okay.
Batman, Batman and Robin, Batman Begins, Batman Forever, Batman Returns, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and Batman The Killing Joke.
You didn't see Batman Mask of the Phantasm?
Nope.
Well, that's a good one.
It's dead to me.
I don't watch DC animated movies.
Well, they're good.
Mm,
They are.
I'm not into it.
How would you know?
Feels like
You haven't watched one.
feels like a door I just don't want to open.
I understand that. No problems there.
Then I might watch a good one, and then I'm like, oh, now I got to watch all these. Forget it. Wow, a lot of break too. Breakdown, breaking and entering, breaking in, and that's it.
I've seen 16 Beverly Hills Cop movies.
16?
There weren't even that many.
Okay,
What?
just seen 3.
Okay.
Just
There's
checking.
going to be a 4th, but...
Just checking.
Well, so Zach's seen all the animated movies too, James, which I know you don't dabble in those. So
I don't dabble in animated movies.
you don't dabble in the... Apparently not.
I don't dabble in the DC animated movies.
Quick, name a Miyazaki movie you've seen.
That's a good question. Ponyo.
Yeah, see? Not a dabbler.
Ponyo.
Yeah, it took you a while. You had to think about it.
I'm a dabbler. I'm the definition of dabbler when it comes to Miyazaki because I've only seen like 3, maybe 4. That's a dabbler.
All you do is dabble.
right. I'm not a hardcore.
Okay, of all of my B movies, only one of them did Letterboxd was not able to spell correctly. It exported them with a weird character instead of one of these letters.
This is a weird data point, Zach.
It's not Beauty and the Beast, was it?
I'll say the letter it messed up was U.
Was there an umlaut over the U?
Yeah, probably. That's probably why I messed it up.
Beirut.
No U.
I don't believe... Well, no, Beirut has a U. in
Beirut
it.
has a U. I might not
Just
have
not
an
with
umlaut.
an umlaut.
I don't know.
Umlaut.
Bruno.
I don't think it's a movie I've seen because none of mine are messed
Bruno.
Bruno.
up. Oh, no,
Did yours mess up?
I don't see Bruno in here.
Why
My
not?
data is wrong.
Got bad data.
Oh, there it is. I see it now.
Is it messed up?
It's messed up.
All right. Enough of this bourgeois.
Definitely. Let's get into our top 10 movies that start with the letter B. Kyle, you're the virgin of this
Can I
list.
say something first, though?
Sure.
I have named my list.
Okay.
It is the Braveheart Memorial List.
Because you left Braveheart off the list?
I did leave it off the list
Wow.
because clearly it's the best B movie.
I don't know about that.
And I wanted to build suspense to my number 1. So I left it off the list, even though it is the best B movie. So mine is the Braveheart Memorial List.
All right.
Okay.
Well, just to build the anticipation, I did not leave it off my list, and yet it's still not number 1.
Well, that doesn't make sense because Braveheart is the best B movie.
Well, I've seen a few more. I've seen like 70 more than you. So somewhere in that 70. Clearly, there's a better movie.
No,
Well-
absolutely not.
I'm going to take this one further and say I left 10 of my favorite best B movies off my list.
Because you've only seen 20?
No, because I was not inspired by this list whatsoever.
Oh, really? You don't like any movies that start with B?
No, I like a lot of movies that start with B. The problem is the 10 I was going to choose are all my top 100, and I feel like I've talked about them all before.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want to just talk about Braveheart again and Blade Runner again and why Back to the Future 2 is better than Back to the Future again.
Sure.
And so I was making the list and I was
Checking it
bored with
twice.
it.
Okay.
So I scrapped the list, and instead, my list is my top 10 favorite B movies that I don't think I've really talked about on the podcast.
Kyle, can I reframe this for you in a way that maybe you could be excited about?
Sure.
These movies, these B movies, it's the B side. Okay, they're not your top 100. It's the B side B movies.
Yeah, and
Don't feel bad about that.
That's what I chose. These are actually everything that's top 101 and above. If it was in the top 100, it got left off. So yeah, these are my B-side picks.
Great.
All I can say is mission accomplished.
Yes. I have no qualms, and that if we do C, maybe I'll just do a different list of myself again.
Okay.
I'll just not follow the format.
Qualms.
All right.
You guys ready to jump into this? Kyle,
Yes, I am.
hit us with your first one.
Of course I'm ready.
So this is probably my number 20 favorite B movie, but we're calling number 11 or number 10, I should say.
Don't do this ever
You're
again.
all over the place.
For the rest of the list, you cannot say, okay, this is my 19. It probably would have been, it's my 9. It probably would have been my 19. None of that.
None of that. Okay.
None of that.
Like,
My number 10 is Best in Show. The Christopher Guest movie. This is my second favorite Christopher Guest film. Maybe the first one I saw. I can't remember if I saw this one or Smile Tap first, but this movie is hilarious. This is a mockumentary in the Christopher Guest style, but about a dog show and all these crazy personalities that are in the dog show. I especially like Jennifer Coolidge and Jane Lynch as an owner-trainer who have their own weird relationship going on. I think they're so funny in this. Parker Posey as this obsessive dog owner is great. It's just, it's got all your favorite Christopher Guest actors in it. And I would say if you like Christopher Guest mockumentary and you haven't seen Best in Show, it's a great B movie.
Man, I was so ready for Kyle to hit us with some obscure B movie, and he breaks out Best in Show. It was totally worth dropping your top 10 to your top 11 to 20.
Yeah.
I mean, Best in Show, great movie. I agree. Not better than my number 10, though, from 2023, Beau is Afraid, which we did an entire episode on.
I considered it. That
Nice.
movie's almost made my list for sure.
It's great. I mean, actually, before I get into it, this is how I made my list. I just took the top by ranking on Letterboxd. I had 5 5-star movies. Those were 1 through 5. And then I had like 30 movies to choose from that were 4.5s. And then those are my number 6 through number 10. Beau is
James,
Afraid got a 4.5 for me. Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Of the 5 5-star ones, did you reorder them or just take them alphabetically that Letterboxd gave them to you?
No. I picked what I felt should be in number. Oh, you mean 1 through 5?
Yeah.
No, I reordered them.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
making sure. Because that would explain the Braveheart thing if you just went alphabetically by how
No.
Letterboxd gave them to you. Okay.
I mean, if you really want to spoil it for yourself, just go to my top 100. That'll tell
Right.
you what 1, 2, and 3 is.
Yeah, that's the thing is, wouldn't you guys just go to your top 600 and start at number 1? And there's my first B movie. That's my number 1. There's
I
my
will
second
say
B movie.
my top 10 here is not the top 10 Bs in my top 600 because these are the best B movies. These are not necessarily the best movies that start with the letter B.
Okay, so you did do B movies.
Yeah, these are B movies for sure.
Okay.
I put my list in the 10 list that I'm about to tell you guys. I put in ChatGPT and asked, what did all 10 of these movies have in common? Fully hoping that it would say they all start with the letter B. And it did not recognize that they all started with the letter B. It said, here's what they all have in common, okay? And so I think you can look for this in every movie that I'm going to say.
Okay.
Human experience and emotion, innovative storytelling, and cinematic excellence. Okay, that's going to be, look for that in every movie that I talk about, including my number 10, Blank Check from 1994.
I could give a rat's.
Thank you, little grandma. Okay, so Blank Check from 1994 is about a boy that is given a blank check and he fills it out for $1 million. He is able to cash it, and then he can live out his financial dreams by buying every toy that a boy could ask for. It's the ultimate wish fulfillment film, and you get a little lesson where money can't buy happiness. It's great.
It doesn't hurt.
Well, it did hurt. It got in the way of his happiness for sure. But this movie inspired me to, for the rest of my life, draw blueprints of what my dream home would look like. I considered doing that again this morning after I saw a cool house on Zillow. And so, yeah, Blank Check is great. It's got everything. Cinematic excellence, innovative storytelling, and human experience and emotion. So it's my number 10.
Excellence. Fun fact, Roger Deakins, cinematographer for Blank Check. James, you may laugh at Zach in the blueprints for the dream house, but in middle school, Zach had a architecture computer program where you could design homes. And we would go to his house after school and design homes, like our dream homes, on his computer, which would take forever to render. That was the only downside of it.
The rendering would take forever. That it was called like My House or something. That was the best.
Yeah, we placed a lot of couches. I remember that was like the fun part. Where are the couches going to go?
Yeah.
What shape can they be in?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to that.
I'm just saying that we were pretty cool middle schoolers. I'm not going to lie.
For sure. You were cool.
Typical.
Kyle, you're number 9. Teen?
Yeah, my number... Sure. Let's call it number 9. Make it that way.
All right.
My number 9 is part of a trilogy. That is a B trilogy. It's actually a quadrilogy now, but that fourth one doesn't really count. This is the third in our B trilogy quadrilogy.
You have so much math in your list, always. There's always so much math.
I just liked the alliteration of B trilogy quadrilogy. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
It's not alliteration.
That's not alliteration. That's just overcomplication. This is the Bourne Identity. Sorry, the Bourne Ultimatum. I'm done.
Okay, the Bourne Ultimatum.
The Bourne Ultimatum. Yeah. This is the third in the original run of the Bourne trilogy. They have that fourth one, which kind of feels tacked on. And this is my second favorite Bourne movie because it gives you.
Which means there's somewhere between 18 and 1. There's another Bourne movie, right?
Impossible to say.
Not unless it's on my top 100. There isn't.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean, this gives you everything you want from a Bourne movie. You've got Matt Damon. He's still trying to figure out his past. He's getting some answers. They bring in David Stratham into this trilogy, which I think is a great addition. A lot of Julia Stiles in number 10. You know, she's in that first movie. She was not Julia Stiles at the time. She wasn't a known actress. And then she got big, so they brought her back a lot. And this has one of my favorite car chases in the Bourne series. Actually, in fact, my favorite car chase in the Bourne series is in the Bourne Ultimatum.
Julia Stiles was not known as Julia Stiles before the third Bourne movie.
No. In the first Bourne movie, which is like 9. What year's the first Bourne movie?
I'm pretty sure she was in 10 Things I Hate About You before she was in Bourne movies.
But I'm saying, like, when she was, I'm pretty sure when she was cast in the Bourne Identity, 10 Things I Hate About You was not out yet.
Save the Last Dance. I think that was even before 10 years. 10
Things I Hate About You was 1999, and the Bourne Ultimatum was 2007.
No. Bourne. Yeah. What year was Bourne Identity?
Oh, the Bourne Identity.
Yes.
What? Save the Last Dance. I think was before all of that.
2002,
and she was the lead in Save the Last Dance.
Okay, but she plays such a nothing role in the Bourne Identity. She's like. Just
I agree.
An assistant.
So Save the Last Dance came out 1 year before Bourne.
She was a name.
Yeah.
Save the Last Dance came out 1 year before Bourne Identity.
Okay. Anyway, so what I'm saying is anyone could have played that role in the Bourne Identity. It happened to be Julia Stiles.
Okay.
Then when they made the next 2 movies, at that point, like she was a big star. So then they bring her back. Nikki, that's her character's name. And she plays, like, normally you would not have the tech analyst from the first movie pop up in the second and third movie in the spy thriller. But because it was Julia Stiles, they brought her back in the second and third movie. That's the point I'm trying to make. Carl's not here right now. What?
Sounded just like him. Kyle.
Zach.
I either loved this movie or hated it. Do you know which?
I think you hated the Bourne Ultimatum.
I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, so you love this movie.
Yeah.
He loved it.
Why do you love this one?
He absolutely loved it.
I honestly don't remember anything about this movie, so I need to rewatch it. I will enjoy the experience.
Oh, the car chase in the parking garage, super fun.
Okay.
All right, James, what's your next one?
My next one, my number 9, is from 1985. It's Better Off Dead, ... which is a comedy that I've talked about before on this podcast, but one that I will never stop talking about.
James, I saw that movie because of you,
Yeah,
and I gave it 4.5 stars. I loved it. I considered it for this list.
absolutely. Do you remember anything from it?
The animation.
Absolutely. The hamburger animation,
Yes.
the opening animation. There's
Definitely
drawn
remember that.
animation. Kyle, have you ever
Yeah.
seen Better Off Dead?
I have not, no.
What?
I know nothing about this movie.
What is wrong with you? This is a classic 80s comedy. I'm pretty sure not every frame of it has dated well. For sure.
Probably not.
But if you have a decent tolerance for the humor to come from movies in the 80s, this is definitely one to check out. It stars John Cusack and Diane Franklin, amongst others. And it's a classic, man. You've never heard the quote, I just want my $3, or trying to think of the other one. I don't know.
No, I have not heard of the other one.
Kyle, he sold it better to me than he's doing to you right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
How did I do that, Zach? Do you remember what I said?
Less words the better, my friend. Less words the
For
better.
sure. No, it's a weird movie that, because it was made in the time that it was made, it won't be one that's like doing an impersonation of a weird movie. It's legitimately a weird 80s comedy that you should check out. Definitely.
All right. Can
Better
you guys
Off
guess
Dead, ellipses.
my number 9? It's from 1992, a non-narrative documentary film directed by Ron Frick.
No.
Does it start with a B at least?
Yeah, that's a good hint.
Baraka?
Baraka.
Oh, Baraka. Good guess.
Had to put on Baraka. Baraka is absolutely dazzling to watch. You put it on, there's no talking. You don't have to worry about dialogue, right? That's what everyone hates about the movies. This is just visuals that are fascinating, interesting, stunning, beautiful, gorgeous. It's the best.
If it's not on the page, it's not on the stage.
James is so trigger happy today.
I know. Well, remember, he made the resolution.
Yeah,
to
I made a
use
resolution.
more of the soundboard. So.
His resolution was to more use the obscure ones. And, anyways,
we're gonna everything.
I also watched 4 Criterion Blu-rays this week. I watched all B movies on
really?
Criterion. Yeah, and none of them made my list. Spoiler alert.
Ouch.
James, this is Zach's turn to share.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
If you haven't seen Baraka, maybe you don't know why you would watch Baraka, but I will tell you, you will see these just amazingly gorgeous images with really great music. And is it Philip Glass? And you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
I think Koyaanisqatsi is Philip Glass. I don't know if he did Baraka also.
This is like the modern Koyaanisqatsi.
It's Koyaanisqatsi 2000, but 1992.
Yeah.
I've seen this one as well on Zach's recommendation, and I gave it 4 stars, and it seems like the kind of movie I wouldn't like. So
yeah,
that's
I
saying
agree.
something.
Yeah, but yet you grudgingly liked it.
It was awesome.
I wrote in my review that I like the juxtaposition of cultures.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and you get to see how chickens are made.
You don't know how they're made, Zach?
No,
That's
I've
a
seen,
turkey.
I've seen
That is
Baraka.
not a chicken.
I've seen Baraka.
Do you know what a turkey is?
All right, that's my number 9.
All right. My number 8 is 2 movies. I really went with the Zach approach to this, but they are both B
Bring
movies,
Zach back. Bring.
and they are Before Sunset and Before Midnight.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just
So-
erasing one of them.
No, because Before Sunrise is in my top 100, so it's on this list.
Okay.
But
Sorry, I forgot we all memorized your top 100.
well, thank you.
I can't remember anything.
Sorry, who's still listening?
Go ahead, Kyle.
No, I'm still listening. They're great. I like Richard Linklater. No,
Nice,
it's
good review. That's good.
It's great. No, but so I would say Before Midnight is my second favorite of the trilogy. Before Sunset being now my third. And this whole trilogy I like just because of how it captures so naturalistically this relationship between Ethan Hawke's character and Julie Delpy's character. And especially Before Midnight, at this point, they're married, they have kids, and they're starting, I think they kind of hit the marriage blues at this point, and they're sort of re-examining their relationship. And I just thought it was such an honest and beautiful and well-told movie that you got to see all three of them. But Before Midnight really stood out to me.
So your number 8 was just one movie?
It was Before Midnight with a little attachment Before Sunset, but we can call it just Before Midnight.
But you don't like Before Sunrise?
No, I love Before Sunrise. It's a top 100 movie for me.
Okay. So it may or may not appear in your top 10 that aren't really in this list.
It will not. If it's a top 100 movie, it is not on this list.
Gotcha.
Because I did not want to do my actual favorite B movies because I found that boring.
Gotcha. Okay. I understand now. My number 8, the most boringest pick, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, which is a movie I really need to rewatch. I think I saw it once in the theater and then once to confirm it for my top list for that year and haven't seen it since, which probably means I haven't seen it in 10 years, 9 years. Yeah. Seems like a long time at this point. Definitely plenty of distance for a rewatch. Would you guys not agree?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really need to watch it again.
What are you talking? Oh, you don't like the movie? I forgot.
No, I it's fine. I liked it. I'd have no reason to revisit it.
No reason. Wow, harsh. If you don't know anything about this, because it is 10 years old, it stars Michael Keaton, Zach Galifianakis, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, amongst many others, and it's an Inarritu film that is pretty wacky. Takes place over the one night at a production of a play. And I'm really not selling this one either, but it's pretty awesome. If you like Inarritu movies like The Revenant and others, then you've probably seen this. But if you haven't, check it out. Birdman.
I strongly considered
Ignorance of Virtue. Virtue of Ignorance.
I strongly considered Birdman for my list because I do love Birdman for sure.
Absolutely.
But I couldn't include it because I included my real number 8, Bad Trip from 2001.
Oh, good pick.
Plus 20, 2021. This is the Eric Andre, Tiffany Haddish movie. And this movie's so funny. And it did something that I hadn't seen before, where it's like they have a bunch of pranks that they want to do. And then they have a narrative fictional story in between that like leads you from prank to prank, right? So it told a narrative story with these interstitial plot, and then just these pranks against real people. And the pranks were super funny, and it was great. I really enjoyed this. And Eric Andre, I've never watched his show, but he seems like a creative mind. And
for the record, you've never watched the Eric Andre show.
Correct. Yes.
I've never watched Eric Andre's show.
You've never seen a frame of the Eric Andre. You've never seen a segment on YouTube. Nothing.
Well, no, I've probably seen like 10 seconds here and there on like YouTube videos or something.
Okay.
But I've never sat down and watched it, nor did I. If I've seen a clip of it, I was unaware that it was Eric Andre. It was just a funny clip I saw.
I don't sit down to watch 90% of what I watch. It just shows up in my recommended.
Yeah, well, I would say if I've watched a show, I would say that I've watched it. But if I've never watched the show, that's what I would consider not watching it.
Okay. So you've seen the show. You just haven't watched the show.
No, what I'm saying is at most I've seen a 10-second clip as a part of something else.
Okay.
I don't consider that having watched the Eric Andre show.
You should watch it. You'd probably enjoy bits of it. I'm not sure you'd enjoy like the in-studio stuff, but he has he cuts to like little bits on the street, which resemble more closely what we got in Bad Trip, for sure.
Gotcha. He strikes me, this is what my impression of the Eric Andre show would be, is the kind of thing where he's like, you start screaming in a restaurant and then get people's reactions to it. That's what I think of Eric Andre's show.
There's definitely an element of that.
Sure.
For sure. Yeah, it's a little bit like public performance artist type stuff. The stuff that's in studio, he's essentially doing the same thing, but he's doing it to an audience of one, normally a celebrity that didn't know what they were in for. And so half the fun is just seeing how far he'll go before the guest just gets up and walks out.
Do they get up and walk out?
They have before, yes. Some of them roll with it and are better for it. And then some of them don't get it and just sit there in fear of their lives, basically.
Do they walk out because he's being offensive or because he's just being so weird that they're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's avant-garde, I would say.
Bad Trip, my number 8.
Nice. My number 7 is The Birdcage. This is a movie from 1996, maybe? Yeah, 96. And this stars Robin Williams and Nathan Lane as a same-sex couple who have a son who is getting married to Callista Flockhart, who happens to be the son of a very conservative senator played by
Callista Flockhart is?
Sorry, the daughter of.
Okay.
It's a very progressive movie. The daughter of a conservative senator who's played by Gene Hackman, and then Diane Wiest plays the wife. So anyway, this conservative senator, he's all about family values. And the son is concerned that the senator will not approve of the fact that he has 2 dads as parents. So they're going to have this dinner together, and Nathan Lane decides to go in drag as the mom of this dinner, and hilarity ensues. I'm really selling this movie too.
Does that work?
Does that work? You'll have to see the movie to find out.
Well, I have seen the movie. I just
I've
don't
seen
remember.
it too.
Yeah. Anyway, it is a very funny movie. There's obviously like a sitcom caper or sitcom elements to it of like, oh no, they're coming over for dinner. What do we do? But just how they handle the situation, how Nathan Lane is in performance is incredible. Who's the guy from this? Hank Azaria plays like their I don't know, their housekeeper, assistant. He's always around, and he's just super funny. He never wants to wear shoes or a shirt. This is a movie that surprisingly has held up. You would think a gay comedy from the 90s would age poorly, but I think this movie handles its themes quite well and makes the homophobic people the butt of the joke than the gay people themselves. So I like this movie. I've enjoyed watching it multiple times, and I know it's a favorite of my wife's also.
Yeah, I remember watching this with my parents at some point, and they liked the movie, and that confused me because they were like, lifelong Republicans,
right?
Worked for a Christian organization their entire life. Just not that they ever even talked about gay people or anything like that, but definitely they lived in that world. You know what I mean? And so the idea that they loved that movie kind of confused me at the time. Knowing them as an adult, on an adult to an adult basis, I know they don't harbor some of the feelings maybe I assumed they did because of the circles they ran in. So that kind of makes more sense to me. But at the time, I was just like, what is it about this movie? Because it's not a movie that makes fun of gay people.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? It's one that humanizes them, which is not something you got much throughout the 80s. This movie came out in the 90s, so I think maybe we were just doing better, or at least headed in the right direction at that point. But I remember this is the first movie I saw with a gay person that was a character in a movie as opposed to like the butt of a joke. Even though there are gay jokes in it or jokes about gay people, it just, they did it well, I guess. That was the first movie I ever saw that did it well.
Right. Like Nathan Lane's performance is definitely comedic relief, but it's comedic relief because he's playing this drag character so big. It's not because like, oh, look at the funny sidekick, the funny gay sidekick.
Right. Yep. It's a good one.
Mostly what I remember is I watched it on a plane.
All right.
Oh, yeah. No, this is a great plane movie. It's like an hour 45. So you can get in most plane rides. It's funny. It's an easy watch.
Yeah. I
And
believe
it's
I
on all
watched,
the planes.
I believe I watched this and then The Truth About Cats and Dogs.
Okay.
Which one do you
place-
remember more about?
Place us. The Birdcage, I think I remember better.
Absolutely.
All I know about The Truth About Cats and Dogs is it had the star of The Apology in it.
And a gun?
No.
Janine Garofalo.
Janine Garofalo.
yeah.
I would not call her the star.
Yeah. James, what's your
My number seven is Batman from 1989. This is the Tim Burton Batman, the one that started it all. Not the first Batman movie, just the one that started it all. Starring Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton from my number 8 film. Kim Basinger. Bunch of people in this version of Batman. I love this movie. It's kind of like 1989. It was like the first time I think I went to an event movie. I mean, this was the 80s, so there were event movies before this, but they were definitely more stretched out. Like there was more time between them than what we get these days. Do we really have event movies anymore? I think maybe the word event movie just has elevated, right?
Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
were
Barbie,
event
yeah.
movies.
Right. And like before that, maybe Avatar
Avengers
2?
Endgame. That was an event.
Adventures Endgame.
You don't think Avatar 2 was an event?
That was an event movie.
Yeah.
So we still have them, yes.
We still have
But-
them. It's just, they're probably just as spread out as they were before. It's just the ones that are just below event movies feel like they should be event movies.
Yeah,
They're like budgeted like that, but they haven't quite gotten there.
Fast X thought it was an event movie. Mission Impossible thought it was an event movie.
Right.
Was
They're
Super
sold as
Mario
that way.
Brothers an event movie?
I think it was.
Really? You think it was?
I mean, it was like, it broke all kinds of records for animated films.
but
and, like,
I mean,
and I saw a lot of people, there was a lot of like discussion about it outside
guess-
of normal circles.
I guess I see event movies as huge anticipation. Like there's big anticipation for Barbenheimer, for Avatar 2.
Maybe it
Endgame.
depends on which worlds you live in, because definitely my son Zach, who's been on the podcast a lot, that movie was highly anticipated in
Okay.
his group of people, for sure. Just because they're starved for like halfway decent video game adaptations, and that
There's so few.
seemed like it was going to be halfway decent. So anyway, this version of Batman kind of pulled the Batman that had been in the 80s comics and threw it on screen, which was kind of like halfway between the, goofy, chuckle-worthy Batman of the 60s, and you add a couple dashes of darkness, and you end up with Tim Burton's Batman. Great movie, seen it a bunch of times in my life, and I think it struck the best possible tone for a movie that's faithful to most versions of Batman. I certainly like Nolan's Batman, but that's like serious Batman. This is like the best mix of serious and weird and goofy Batman.
Certainly goofy.
How dare you? How dare you?
No.
You just said it was goofy. I was agreeing with you.
You said certainly goofy.
Yeah. Yeah. I did.
There's a little judgments to that. That's certainly.
For sure.
No, I'm agreeing with you with aplomb. It's certainly goofy, James. Yeah, certainly is. My number 7, another documentary. Can you believe it, guys? We're only 4 movies in, and this is my second documentary.
I'm shocked.
It's amazing. It's
Can't
amazing.
wait.
2010's Babies.
Oh, babies.
2 B's in this title. Now, I've talked about Babies before, but neither of you have watched Babies since.
Good job,
And
Ben. Good point.
I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem because have you forgotten that it follows 4 different babies from all around the world, from Namibia, from Mongolia, Japan, and the United States? Have you forgotten that?
I have, yes.
I have
And-
not. I knew that, and I still haven't watched it.
We see these babies from birth to when they start walking. Now, some of them start walking before the others, and they kind of drop off. And then finally, the Mongolian baby walks, and then the movie ends.
What a plot line.
Here's what this movie has. Okay.
Okay.
It has animal endangerment, as toddlers are hurting animals and they're helpless. It has touching moments of first steps and first words and just beautiful, funny things. It's great. I think
So it has two things.
No, it has lots of things. I don't want to spoil.
You said here's what this movie has, and then you listed two things.
It displays the universality of human life, and I think that's beautiful.
What else?
Have you spent much time in a yurt, James?
I haven't.
Well, you spent a lot of time in a Mongolian yurt, which is pretty cool.
Anything else we can add to the list?
There's a Canadian woman that spends a lot of time in a hot tub, right? And James loves that.
You finally sold me.
Hot tub.
Anyway, Babies, the French documentary from 2010, mostly wordless, is fantastic.
Mostly wordless.
Zach, who's your favorite baby? Hattie, Mari, Bayar, or Panajo?
Panajo is great. I'd say Bayar. I mean, no.
Bayar, the baby that can't walk?
No, I will say it's fun to watch the Japanese family because Japan in this just looks like a future society. It looks like they're way ahead of us with their baby rearing. Have you guys seen that Netflix show where the reality show where they let babies go do tasks?
No.
Have you heard of this?
No, I don't consume such baby content as you do.
Okay, I recommend this show. I don't know what it's called, but it's on Netflix. And here's what it is. It's a Japanese show that is just on Netflix, okay? But it's in Japan, all the kids just go to school by themselves, right? Their parents don't like drop them off at school. So when they're like 5, they need to learn how to do this. So at like 3, they send them on these like tasks. So they'll say to their 3-year-old, go 2 blocks away to the grocery store and buy a pineapple and then come back. And so these cameras will just follow these 3-year-olds that leave their home alone and like wander through the city looking for the grocery store. And like they have to figure out how to get to the grocery store by themselves, buy the pineapple, carry it home, all without getting distracted or like lost or something. And so these cameras just like hide and like film them on their like real journey. And it's just amazing because one, in America, you would never send your 3-year-old 2 blocks away to a grocery store to buy something and come home again.
I mean, you would if there was a camera crew following them.
No, but this is like every family does it. Like this is like their kids learn to do this,
Oh, okay. Sure.
And it's amazing what these kids are capable of when you don't,
baby them.
Baby them.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's a really entertaining show because these kids are really funny and they get distracted and it's great. So I recommend
you guys remember
this
like
nameless show.
Do you remember 10 years ago, there was like a woman who let her kid ride the subway alone? And then it came out because she was like a mommy blogger and she blogged about how she lets her kids ride the subway alone. And then everybody freaked out and called her a bad parent. She was like, so.
No, I mean, I don't remember this, but I'm not shocked. And I only want to watch this Japanese game show if it's on Instagram clips with the comments turned on.
It's not a game show. It's a reality show.
Okay, reality show.
And it's called My First Errand or Old Enough. One of those two.
You're not sure? Or did they switch titles?
Well, its name is Hajimete no Otasaki.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that translates old enough. Good job, Daddy. Zach, I unfortunately cannot find Babies on streaming.
You can borrow my Blu-ray.
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll mail it to you.
Yeah, come drop it off, and then I will. Cannot wait to watch that.
Babies is good. Don't sleep on Babies.
All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough.
I'm out.
All right.
I'm out on Babies.
No, you'll love it. It's good. It's good.
How many hot tub scenes are there? Just one?
Just the one, but it's extended. And I've seen Babies maybe 30 times.
Is this your most watched B movie on this list?
Looking, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, because my daughter used to love watching Babies, and so we would watch it together.
Have you seen Braveheart more than Babies?
No.
No. Okay, so it's maybe your most watched B movie of all time.
I think so.
Okay. All right. My number 6 is a documentary. You guys are shocked that Zach has multiple documentaries. We can be shocked that I have at least one documentary on my list. And we're counting the as not being a letter, correct? We can move past those as not being a B movie.
Wait, you have a movie that starts with a T on your list?
Yeah, but it starts with a the.
No.
When you alphabetize, the does not count in alphabetizing.
No.
Did you alphabetize in Excel? Because it absolutely does count in Excel.
Yeah, but when you alphabetize in a library or when you do a normal
I'm sorry,
movie
are we in a library right now?
No, I'm just saying like your normal, I don't even know what the word for it is, but the way I was taught to alphabetize was the, and those things don't count.
But that's
Kyle,
not Kyle, can you read the list to us? What's the list name?
Top
movies that
the
start with
B
B.
movies. The
Top 10 movies that start with the letter B.
I'm already not even doing my
B.
top 10 movies. I should just have made a random list of all those 10
No.
movies I wanted to make.
No.
Start with B.
But yes, this movie does start with B.
Starts
The
with a
Beatles.
T. No, it starts with a T.
But that doesn't count in alphabetization. The does not count. Ooh, Daddy's mad. Yeah, Daddy is mad right now. Now, sit down and let me talk about the Beatles for once.
No, I agree with you with alphabetizing. I'm going to call it alphabetation. Okay?
Alphabetation. You've been watching George Babies.
I agree with you. That's how you alphabetize. But we're not comparing B's to C's to D's. These are all B movies. Well, some of them start with a T. We're talking about what is the first letter of the movie title.
Right.
You know, when I did The Bourne Ultimatum and The Birdcage, you guys have said nothing about
Is it?
those.
It's not called The Bourne Ultimatum. It's
Yes,
called
it is. I'm
Bourne
looking at the
Ultimatum.
poster right now. It's The Bourne Ultimatum.
Why are you looking at the poster?
Birdcage.
Why are you
nothing-
including T movies in a B list?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, well, if this makes you mad, there's one more coming up with a T there. So I guess my list
great.
is 6 B movies and 4 T movies. My bad.
40 movies.
40% of my list, it does not apply to my list.
Does not start with none of them are your top 10. Okay.
Oh, no, 5. Half of my list does not start with.
The first letter is a T.
Yes, half of my list starts with the.
Wow. All right.
Carl?
All right. My number 6 is The Beatles, or The Beatles, 8 days a week, the touring years. This is a Ron Howard documentary from 2016 about the Beatles, specifically their touring years, because the Beatles only toured for 3 years, from 1963 through 1966. After 1966, they were still a band. Actually, August 29th, 1966. They were still a band, but they stopped touring after that. They only had the one show, which is when they played on Top of the Roof in 1969 for the Let It Be album. But other than that, they stopped touring in 1966. So this documentary chronicles those 3 years that they were touring, which is also probably the height of what we could call Beatlemania. Beatlemania being one of the reasons why they stopped touring. Why I like this documentary. One, it's about the Beatles, which is a band that I really enjoy. Grew up listening to them, still like them. It also treats the music with respect, because so many times I see music documentaries and they'll be talking heads, which this one has too. And the heads will be talking about something, and then the filmmaker will give you like a 30-second clip of whatever they're talking about. And then the head will talk over it or something like that. And in this movie, you'll have someone talk about a concert or a performance, and then Ron Howard will cut to video of that performance and then play an entire song. So you're actually getting Beatles footage as well as talking head documentary, kind of like the Summer of Soul documentary that we saw a couple of years ago. So I just like that it treats the music with respect. Also, my parents have a print from the photographer who was at the final Beatles concert. His name was Jim Marshall. He passed away not that long ago. And they have a Jim Marshall original of Paul and John singing at this August 29th concert in Candlestick Park.
That's cool.
It's really cool picture. Yeah.
Did they know him, or did they just find the print somewhere?
They actually received it as a gift from a photographer friend of theirs in like sometime in the 80s. Jim Marshall was, he did another run of prints.
Neat.
So
Yeah.
one of their friends bought them as a gift, Jim Marshall, which is pretty sweet.
And Kyle is actually going to give the third person to email the Cinereelists show. He's going to give them that print. Which is
Oh
really,
hell no! No, that is
really incredible.
I've already told my brother and my parents that is mine when they no longer need it.
Yeah. Hopefully, Kyle is the third emailer into the show.
Yeah, I better email the show right now.
Have you seen Let It Be? The Apple.
I have seen
documentary?
Let It Be. Yep, I liked that.
This, what you're describing, which I haven't seen the movie that's on your list, but
Okay.
seems like it would be a good, I don't know, companion
Yes.
documentary. A little shorter probably than Let It Be, I imagine.
Yeah, this one's like maybe 2 hours long.
Right. Let It Be being what, 8 hours long, I think?
Multiple episodes. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how long it is.
It's really long, but really good, especially if you like the Beatles or you're a fan of the creative process. That was super interesting too.
Yeah, to see just how they kind of would sit down and I love there's this scene where they're like I don't know, John and Ringo are like screwing around, and then in the background Paul McCartney's like working out the song "Let It Be," like
Right.
he's just like noodling around, and they're just talking about whatever. Like it's really cool.
Yeah, and just making up lyrics off the top of his head, and half
Right.
of them stick, and the other half he eventually replaced. type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Just as they kind of go along. It's cool.
It's a great document, and it also kind of like it's 8 hours, and it has a climax at the end. Like they couldn't have written that last episode better, I would say.
Oh no, they're building to something. There is drama. Like you're not just watching four guys hanging out in a studio. Like there is that, but there's also a lot of interpersonal drama going on. And you know,
the other thing that documentary made me realize is that everything I've ever heard about Yoko Ono was bullcrap.
Everything?
I mean, everything I've heard about her is that she has no talent. She was just a clinger on, that she was bad for John and like all this other stuff. And all I saw was like a supportive girlfriend in that movie.
Yeah. She was
that was
definitely
not
demonized.
interjecting herself at all
No.
into what they were doing.
Though
she seemed like maybe if there was an issue, it was because John couldn't separate himself from her. That's what I was seeing more often than
So like
not.
maybe let's back chair psychoanalyze the Beatles 60 years on. So maybe their
chair?
real animosity was towards John, but they didn't want to show it, so they took it out on Yoko instead.
Right, but the fans have been taking it out on Yoko for 50
yeah, for
years
sure. Yeah,
now.
she's been demonized by blamed for the breakup of the Beatles and
Right.
yeah.
And
Though, have you
anybody who has blamed her for the breakup of the Beatles should watch that documentary and realize the same thing I did, which is that's all crap.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know that. I mean, just from this documentary, that shows a slice.
I mean,
She very much
this
could
was
be the
them
reason.
recording their last album, and so you would assume this is at its worst if that's what broke them up. And I forget where it is. At some point in the documentary, it might be right at the beginning, they talk about how this is as much as possible a representation of what actually happened.
Mhm.
And people assumed that during those final sessions that she was a major point of strife. And there is a moment in there where that happens. But for the most part, she's not being annoying. She's not interjecting herself. She's just sitting there, basically. I don't know. It was good. Great documentary. But an investment for sure.
Have you seen the clip of her and John Lennon and Chuck Berry playing together?
No.
Oh, okay. So
good?
yeah, so like Chuck Berry and John Lennon, they're playing like one of Chuck Berry's rock and roll songs,
Mhm.
and Yoko Ono is there on the microphone.
I've seen
and
this.
she's just essentially screaming into the microphone, like she's doing her performance artist thing.
Right. That's what she does.
Yeah, and you could see Chuck Berry visibly angry that like he's like trying to rock out, and
She's
he's like
ruining
rolling.
it.
Oh yeah, and then for the next song, her microphone was cut, so she's still there. You can see her like screaming, but there's just no sound coming from her whatsoever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that, James?
No, I don't think I have.
Just
wild.
watch Chuck Berry's face, and he just looks so mad.
What percent of the song "Let It Be" is made up by the words "Let It Be"?
Well, it's the chorus, and they repeat it a lot.
Mhm.
I find myself in times of trouble.
Is there an actual number to this? Are you
Yeah,
asking us?
Yeah,
Is
to
it-
two
this is
decimal places.
closest to the pin?
Yeah.
Okay, I want James to go first then, because I have a number. But
I'm going to say 28%.
Oh, no. I'm going to say closer to, I'm going to go 66%.
Would you like to get closer than that? It's the 2 decimal places.
I'm within 2?
I'm just saying there's up to 2 decimal places. So if you want to get more accurate than 66%.
Oh, 66 point something.
Yeah.
Let's go 66.66.
66.49%.
All
the
right. Okay.
Let it be is the words let it be.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're very accurate.
I was so close.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Whose turn is it?
I believe it's mine.
Yeah.
My number 6 is also my 6th least favorite movie that starts with a B that I also gave 5 stars. It's Burning.
I thought you only had 5 movies that have 5 stars.
I counted them wrong.
Okay.
I have 6. Burning from 2018.
Great movie.
That I know Zach has seen. I don't know if Kyle
5-star
has
movie.
caught up with this yet.
I need to watch it for one of my resolutions, but you guys brought it up again, so I have to wait for the hype to wear off.
All right. Well, them's the breaks, I guess. This is a South Korean, Japanese psychological thriller.
No spoilers.
No spoilers here.
I don't want themes.
Saying it's a thriller.
Okay.
It's about a guy who... You don't want any... It's a relationship movie about a love triangle. That's all I'll say. If you haven't seen Burning yet, you should definitely check it out. And you can't overhype this movie. Not because it's so great, because I would be overhyping it. I'm not saying that. It's just a normal movie that you may or may not like, even though I'm pretty sure you will. That's what I'm saying.
It's an inaccurate review because it is a great movie. It's not a normal movie.
Zach, don't hype it. It's a normal movie with no hype whatsoever.
That's a lie.
0 hype on this.
Yes, please don't use your hype voice to tell me that there's no hype.
Typical.
My number 6 is not a documentary. I apologize, guys. I will do better next time. My number 6 from 2020. It's a double B, Black Bear.
Oh, yeah. That was your favorite movie of that year, wasn't
Loved Black Bear. It's directed by Lawrence Michael Levine, and it's starring Aubrey Plaza. And it is it's a meta movie, right? About an author's creative process. It's very trippy and awesome. You don't know where it's going to go. It's well acted. It's crazy. It nails the ending. It's great. It totally caught me by surprise. Love Black Bear. If you want a trippy, psychological, meta kind of movie, you got to check out Black Bear from 2020.
Yeah, that was a surprise entry, I think, on all of our lists. We all kind of caught it towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I was happy that each of us ranked it.
Yeah.
Especially that you put it number 1.
That was your favorite movie of that year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Zach's got taste.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. I'll give you the T now.
Okay, good. Because my number 5 is The Boondock Saints.
Great.
I don't know if has this movie been discussed on the podcast that often. I don't know.
Boondock Saints is in my top 250.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's somewhere in a top list for me.
This is top 250. It's on my list. I don't know if it's in the 250, but
it's in my top 3,000.
Top 3,000. Okay, so you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
This is a 1999 movie directed by, I think, Troy Duffy is his name.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely in the vein of Guy Ritchie. And it's about, honestly, it's been a while since I've seen this movie. It's about 2 brothers who are exacting revenge, or they're on a crime spree. I don't actually remember what's about, to be completely honest. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I know, like, this is a movie that in 1999, like, I was 16. This was like The Matrix and Pulp Fiction. It was the height of like cool guys with guns. And this was at the time the ultimate cool guys with guns movie. Got Willem Dafoe in it. It's very gritty. I really am curious to know what I think about it 20 years later, because I don't think I've seen this in like nearly 20 years. It was a college movie I watched all the time. Haven't seen it since.
Spoiler alert, you won't like it as much. But
I'm
it's
sure
okay.
it will not hold
it's
up
okay,
as much as I thought it did.
Yeah.
But like 16 to 21-year-old me thinks this movie is amazing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you'll still have nostalgic love for it, but you'll see the cracks if you
I'm
watch
sure.
it now.
I'm sure I will.
For sure. But it's one of my favorites as well. Have you seen Overnight? The movie Overnight, the documentary Overnight.
No, but it is on my watch list. That's the Troy Duffy documentary, correct?
Yes, you should watch that instead of rewatching
It's so
Boondock
good.
Saints, because there's a lot of Boondock Saints in it, so it'll remind you of the movie, but also give you this whole other element to the movie that's like, holy crap, this guy was out of control at the time.
Right.
It's kind of amazing anything got made as far as that movie goes.
And like, whereas The Birdcage and its depiction of gay characters in the 90s has held up, I'm going to assume that the Boondock Saints depiction of gay characters like Willem Dafoe has not held up whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't remember as far as that depiction goes, but it's also been a while for me with the Boondock Saints. Did you ever see the Boondock Saints 2?
No, All Saints Day. Have missed that one.
Yeah. They got the whole group back together and didn't work quite as well second time around.
They even got the wolf back?
No, he
Did he
died.
die in the first one?
Yeah, he died in the first one.
Okay.
So I guess I didn't get the whole pack back together, but mostly. All right. My number 5 also happens to be my 5th least favorite B movie of all time. It's Boogie Nights from 1997, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and starring Mark Wahlberg, Julianne Moore, Burt Reynolds, Don Cheadle, John C. Reilly, William H. Macy, Heather Graham, Philip Seymour Hoffman. What a cast. I mean, I know we don't say it enough. This movie has a cast. A good cast. A great cast, I would say. Mark Wahlberg, what happened to that guy? Did you guys see that Super Bowl commercial about the prayer app?
The prayer app?
He did a Super Bowl commercial for a Catholic prayer app. Somebody paid $7 million to promote a Catholic prayer app on the Super Bowl.
Did Mark Wahlberg wash feet in this app, in this commercial?
No, I don't remember that. I think he's just kind of sitting there listening to his phone, and then it turns out to be a Catholic prayer app. I love this movie. It's great. It's a well-made movie about a crazy group of characters. A lot of people involved in the 1980s porno scene, I guess you would say. And it humanizes them, I would say. I think at the time, and even to today, most people's opinion of people in that industry is probably, I don't know, tinged with some, I don't know what the word would be. Judgmental. Yeah, that's a good word. And not that this is the goal of Boogie Nights for sure, but the movie, in showing these people as real people with real issues and real feelings and real struggles, I think humanizes them in an interesting way. I like the drama of it all, the ridiculousness of it all, and the performances across the board. This movie, I remember watching in a movie theater, got one of the biggest crowd reactions I have ever experienced. You can imagine when, kind of towards the end of the movie. And I remember walking out with my friend Josh, not the one that you know, Zach, different Josh, and just being like, wow, that was crazy. And also that one scene at the end. I mean, it was kind of like, I just never seen it that big on a screen before in a packed house. And so that will forever be burned into my memory, that moment. But the movie goes beyond that for me. I just think it's a great, it's like one of those movies from the late 90s that marks this time period where I went from like a kid who watched a bunch of movies as a kid to like growing into adulthood and learning that there's more to these movies than what I originally thought, right? I saw them as like things I liked. I was a fan of these things, but I couldn't really fully explain why, and I didn't really explore beyond my circle. And Boogie Nights was one of those first movies where I was like, oh, I kind of like dramas with casts that, there's not a single spaceship in this. I love it. It's just a bunch of people talking for the most part, really well edited and well acted. Imagine that. This was like one of those movies in the mid to late 90s that helped push me into my final film form that you see today. My number 5.
It molded you.
Absolutely.
James.
It molded me.
by adult films.
Yeah, you could say that.
And I am first and foremost a lover of movies.
Exactly.
Well,
James, the movie lover.
My number 5.
No, I'm not a movie lover. I'm a lover of movies.
This is distinction par excellence.
Absolutely.
My number 5 is a Kubrick film.
Okay.
If anything could beat a Paul Thomas Anderson film, it's a Kubrick film. And it's Barry Lyndon.
Nice.
Barry Lyndon from 1975, so that's easy to remember, is great. It's so good. It's kind of like, the B-side of a Kubrick film, right? It's not one of his most beloved, but it's still awesome. It's got lots of dueling with guns. It's got a guy that's kind of like life is happening to him. It's got candle photography. It's great.
Candle lit photography?
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic.
Okay.
It's extremely slow paced. You'll be bored out of your minds if you're not into it. And it also has long, slow zooms, which is not common in cinema. But it is common in Barry Lyndon. And love it.
There are no CGI shots in the movie.
That's probably true. I would say that's true.
There's no CGI in Barry Lyndon. No.
Yeah.
It is a misnomer that Barry Lyndon was only shot with natural light.
What does that mean?
So like people claim that like, oh yeah, Barry Lyndon was only shot with natural light. So if they're indoors, it's only candles, or if there's light coming through the window, it's only light through the
sunlight.
Yeah. And that's kind of false because he did put artificial lights outside the windows.
Okay, so he blasted light in through the windows. It's not all sunlight, is what you're saying.
Right, it's not all sunlight, yeah, or it's not all just perfect candlelight.
Okay.
But
there were scenes that were strictly only candles, though, weren't there?
There are scenes, yeah, but the claim that it's 100% shot with natural light is false. It's still technically impressive that he was able to shoot in such low lighting, and he did use what he tried to be called naturalistic lighting. But it's still not.
Well, also some scenes he did use purely natural light in candles.
Yeah,
right?
some scenes. Right. Yeah.
I've actually never heard the claim that it was 100% natural light.
Oh, okay. That's a claim I've heard bounced around.
Gotcha.
I've heard the claim that he used natural light. I've never heard the term 100%.
Well, I don't think the exact quote is 100%. I'm just trying to. Okay, you can say all. You can say every. I'm just trying to use a term to encompass.
Kyle, you need to get off whatever forums you're on. Those people are not your friends.
The Kubrickians,
the people that say it's 100% natural light.
I know. That's why I'm debunking them right here on the spot.
Okay.
Earlier today, I watched a YouTube video of a guy who was unboxing a set of books solely about The Shining, and this set of books cost £1,500. Could you imagine buying
$1,700
a set of books for $1,500 that are all about one movie?
Yeah.
I mean yeah. Yes, I can totally
The
imagine
set was
that.
pretty cool, but that's a lot of money. I don't know.
I'm assuming this person was maybe a huge fan of Kubrick, especially The Shining, possibly a collector. Though I guess James, I don't know if you count as a collector if they bought all at once.
No, I mean, he could be a collector as long as he's continuing to buy more books.
Okay.
Or more Shining things.
Sorry, he's a Shining collector, not a Shining book collector, because he only did the one lot.
Right, exactly. My fourth least favorite movie that starts with a B.
Oh, we're just going to skip
I'm
over
just skipping you. Yep.
Okay. Fair.
His is probably a T movie anyways.
Go ahead.
Well, so even though Barry Lyndon is not in my top 100, I did leave it off purposely because it's Kubrick, and I talk about Kubrick a lot on this podcast. Favorite director, so I don't want to talk about Kubrick.
Competition. It's only an exhibition.
Zach,
Please.
thank you for filling the Kubrick role on this one.
So this list is your B movies and T movies that are not in your top 100 or directed by Kubrick.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Okay.
these are just B
Or in
movies
the
I
top
want-
100.
It's the B movies I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Is essentially what I chose. So
Love it.
Yep. My number 4 is Blade from 1998. This is a Wesley Snipes movie. He's playing the Marvel character of Blade. This is one of the first Marvel movies. Not the first, but it's up there. In this, he plays a vampire hunter. He's half vampire himself. He's called Daywalker. And he is trying to stop. I think Steven Dorff is playing this, the head vampire who wants to unite all the vampires together and take over at least the city, if not the world, in a
the city.
I can't remember if it's the city or the world. It's probably the world. But I gotta start with the city. You gotta start small, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a while.
Yeah. I did watch this movie a year ago, and it's held up really well. I was really surprised. This is a movie that I watched a lot as a kid, like a teenager, because it's got, cool action. It's got a great soundtrack. It's like half hip hop, half techno. There's that awesome scene where they're in a
The rave scene.
The rave scene where like the blood comes out of the sprinklers and he's just killing all the vampires. It's so cool. There's the one vampire where he keeps like hacking limbs off of it and they keep slowly growing back. And every time they sees them, he's just missing more limbs. So it's a
so cool.
It's a super fun movie. It's got Wesley Snipes has these crazy quotes he says through it.
Mhm.
Like my absolute favorite one, and I'm going to censor it. So, some mother bleepers are always trying to be ice skating uphill. No idea what that means. Like,
You don't know what that means? Come on.
what does it mean, James? Some other bleepers are always trying to be.
It's
are trying to ice skate
it's an
uphill.
exercise in futility. That's what he's saying.
Okay,
Like,
that's what
some
he's
guys make things harder than they need to be.
It's Sisyphus.
Yeah, but he says in such a weird context. It's,
No.
it's like he does a cool kill and then says that. You're
It's
like,
a weird
okay.
quote for the movie, but it does make sense.
It does make sense.
Does is he have like full vampire powers or like full vampire strength?
I don't know if he has full. I don't know if he has full. So because he's half vampire.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like why is he able to beat a full vampire if he's
I don't
a half
remember
vampire?
if he has full vampire strength. I don't believe he does. I think he does. Like Steven Dorff's character gives him a run for his money.
Right, but like vampires have different levels of strength. It's not like all vampires are the same level of strength. Like
Yeah,
Steven Dorff is like a higher level than even the other full vampires.
I would just think the weakest vampire is stronger than the strongest human.
But he's not a human. He's half human, half vampire.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd assume he's weaker than the weakest vampire.
But he's got a cool sword and guns.
Sure. Oh, I like Blade. I'm not slamming on Blade. I'm just saying I think Zach's right.
Yeah, I honestly do not know enough about the lore of Blade to tell you. I'm sure Marvel's going to really mess it up with their new Blade movie, and we're going to get like an hour of explanation of his powers and like 10 minutes of him fighting a vampire. So
There's a new Blade movie coming out.
well, so it's been rumored for a while. Mahershala Ali's supposed to star as Blade, but it seems like they keep starting and stopping it. So I'm not quite sure what the status of the new Blade movie is.
They haven't started shooting it, and I don't think they're going to get rid of that one because, Mahershala Ali. But I think pretty much everything's on the table at this point for Marvel.
To axe it or to make?
To axe it or to make.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And they'll probably try and like tie it in or something or make it. I don't know. Like, I just wish this is more of a Marvel rant in general. I would just wish they just made movies now. Like, just make a Blade movie, make a Deadpool movie. The whole idea of this multiverse universe is kind of crumbled, and I think they'd be more successful if they just made movies instead of trying to make these epic stories that cover multiple movies.
Yeah, I don't know if it's crumbled, but definitely they need to make movies that have connections that are tentative. That's not the right word. Just
Right.
like little small connections like they did in the beginning. And then if things are going the right way, then head that direction. Don't start heading that direction and then write stories into it.
Right. Yeah. They're doing it backwards, it seems like.
I
Anyway,
agree.
that's my Marvel rant. I'll watch the new Blade movie that comes out someday. But let's talk about Blade 98. The last thing I want to say about this is I was amazed by how much like wire fu was in this movie and how much the fighting scenes reminded me of something like that the Matrix was doing. And it kind of gave you an idea that this movie was just a little ahead of the Matrix. It came out a year before. Like obviously wire fu was getting popular among American filmmakers in the 90s. It was cool to see someone like a lot of people say, oh yeah, Matrix, first American movie with wire fu, or one of the first ones. It's kind of cool to see Blade was doing something very similar before that.
When I think of wire fu, which is a term I've never heard before.
You've never then how do you think about it?
When I think about it.
But you don't think about it.
No, I'm thinking about it right now.
You've never heard the word before.
True, but I'm thinking about it now.
Okay.
And here's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking about the Matrix, I'm thinking about the freeze time kind of motion.
Bullet time.
Oh, bullet time.
Bullet time, yeah.
So yes, it definitely had bullet time, but like if you remember that first Trinity fight, like she's jumping up in the air and does like 3 kicks on a police officer before landing on the ground. Not the bullet time. No, there's a different one. There's the bullet time one where she jumps up, it spins around her and she does her kick. But there's another one where she like it's a normal speed, right? It's a normal speed shot. And she like jumps up, kicks a guy 3 times in the air and then lands on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's more the wire fu. Or like when Morpheus and Neo are fighting in the dojo. That's totally wire fu as he gets like spun around in a circle multiple times. So anyway,
that was a cool scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, I think wire fu is great in The Matrix, and it was cool to see it in Blade also.
I agree. It's a good one. No Blade Trinity, but the first one's all right.
Oh, really? You like Blade Trinity more than Blade?
Blade Trinity is so good.
Is it good because Ryan Reynolds is cracking jokes the whole time?
That's part of it.
Okay, so Wesley Snipes is not even in Blade Trinity.
I know.
Like
he was in jail.
He's in it.
Well, he like.
How dare you say he's not in it?
So often when you see him, it's just a shot of him. Like he and Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel will be like in a van together. And it'll be a shot of just Wesley Snipes driving the van, and then a shot of like Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel sitting next to him on the bench seat, talking to him and just cutting back and forth. Because Wesley Snipes was never on set, so they had to shoot all his stuff separately and then like cut in and edit in Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel.
Sure. Does he share screen time with Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel? Yes.
Rarely.
I mean share by like a good portion of the movie is them, not him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But he's in the movie.
I mean, he's in the movie, but I don't think he's like mentally in the movie.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to argue that, but that movie has Parker Posey in it. It's got Triple H in it. It's some classic thespians here. I mean, how dare
Triple
you?
H. Yeah, that's. I do want to rewatch Blade 2, the Del Toro one. I've only seen it the one time, and I remember not liking it.
It's good.
I gotta give it a second shot. I'm sure it's good. Yeah,
it's better than the first one, I would say.
All right, James. Now, what's your number 4?
My number 4 also happens to be my 4th least favorite 5-star movie that starts with a B. It is also Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Blade Runner 2049, my favorite Blade Runner movie. Love this movie. It's awesome. Speaking of Ryan Gosling, who I often confuse with Ryan Reynolds for some reason. This one stars him and Harrison Ford and Ana de Armas and Jared Leto, Dave Bautista. A bunch of people are in this movie, directed by Denis Villeneuve, director of Dune. Are you guys excited about Dune 2?
I am excited about Dune 2.
I'm actually getting a little excited, to be honest.
I'm not that excited. I didn't love Dune.
No, James. If I could recall how you felt, you loved Dune, except the fact that it ended halfway through.
I loved Dune.
That was my memory of it.
I don't even think it hit my top 20. of the
You
year.
really liked it, and then you were incredibly bothered that it only told half a story.
I think I was intrigued by it. Like the setup is clearly that movie's just set up for what is maybe going to happen in part 2. My fear is that what we got is what we're gonna get in part 2, but like what I want part 2 to be is like wall-to-wall action, because part 1 was like political intrigue, and I know the movies just don't have the budget for that. And so we're going to get a bunch more political intrigue and then probably like a half an hour action sequence in Dune 2.
I think you're going to get more action than you're expecting.
Well, I'm ready to be happily disappointed with the lack of action in Dune 2. Anyway, Blade Runner 2049, not exactly like wall-to-wall action, and yet it was fine. It was a nice balance, which I was missing from Dune Part 1. Blade Runner 2049, a perfect Lego sequel, I would say, with great performances from Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford. And a visually flawless movie, in my opinion. My number 4. Blade Runner 2049.
Sure. My number 4, this movie is Bad Lands from 1973. It is directed by Terrence Malick. It follows a young couple in the 50s on a romantic killing spree. And it's hard, I guess hard to describe why that is amazing. But it's an incredible movie. It's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And Terrence Malick can sure make a beautiful movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good. It's, plot wise, you could put in the same categories like Natural Born Killers, but it's like the furthest away from that possible as far as like what the movie
on
is
paper
like.
They're similar movies.
Yeah,
but
it's based on a true story.
Yeah,
on a real couple. I think the girl just, came up for parole recently and was denied parole for her involvement in the killings. But
wait,
yeah,
recently she's still alive? The true story person?
I thought it took place I thought it was set. I thought the actual event happened in the 50s.
The actual event happened in the 50s.
So she's got to be like in her 80s
or 90s.
Yeah.
She was 14 at the time.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I don't remember that part of the movie.
Oh, yeah. There's like a 10-year age difference between the Sissy Spacek character and the Martin Sheen character.
You mean in real life or in the movie itself?
In the movie. So I also believe in real life. That's also true.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a teenage girl that runs off with a kind of loser adult guy. Zach, did you figure out how old she is or this?
Would you like to know?
Yes, I would.
Closest to the pin. I say 92.
Okay, I'm going to say 91.
80.
Yeah, that's
80.
80.
All right.
Oh, she's been released.
Oh, good.
So lock your doors.
Do you think she tried to beat Sissy Spacek?
No.
No. Okay.
Do you think Sissy Spacek is older than her or younger than her?
Oh, I think she's younger than her, considering that movie came out in the 70s.
Yeah, but she's only not too much younger. She's 74.
Oh, okay. So not as much younger. Okay.
Not that much younger. Yeah. Anyway, Badlands. Watch it.
Well, Badlands is a top 100 movie for me, so it's not on this list. Let's go on my number 3.
And it starts with a B, so not on your list.
Yeah, my number 3 starts with a T because it is The Big Lebowski.
We really should have brought Kyle in on how we set up the rules for this list last time, Zach.
Well, James, when you suggested it, you're like B movies. I thought you meant B movies. And I was like, well, how do we define a B movie?
Oh, like a movie that's not A level, but B level? Yeah, sure.
Which would be a fun list to do, too. I think that's very subjective. How do you define a B movie?
That's boring. I like this version better.
Yeah, me too. That's why
pick a letter and do that.
All right. Yeah. So The Big Lebowski, Coen Brothers film about a slacker, the dude, who has the same name as a rich guy. They're both Jeff Lebowski. Or is it Jeff Lebowski? Something Lebowski.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. They have the same name, Lebowski. And he, the slacker, gets mistaken for the rich guy and gets kind of pulled into a neo-noir Shaggy Dog story that involves theft and nihilists and the adult film industry and weirdos left and right. So this is definitely a movie full of weirdos, and which makes sense. It's a Coen Brothers movie. This movie, for me, it's the performances that stood out. And it's especially a movie where like I saw these actors and this is the first time I recognized them as like individual people, where I was like, oh, that guy's interesting. Who is that? Right. Like I'd seen Tron before, but I didn't know that Tron starred Jeff Bridges. That was just a movie to me. I see this movie. I'm like, oh, who's this Big Lebowski guy? He's interesting. Or I guess the dude. I'm like, oh, this is Jeff Bridges. There's this narrator, this cowboy. That's Sam Elliott. It's my first time I could recognize like, oh, who is this guy? Sam Elliott. You know, Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this movie as the assistant to the Big Lebowski. And that put him on the map. So for me, this movie put a lot of people on the map as like, oh, who are these faces and where can I find more of these people? That in itself, it was also, I think my first Coen Brothers movie, or again, the movie that put Coen Brothers on the map for me. I'd be like, oh, these guys are a little odd, a little different, but they're making interesting stories with interesting characters. I want to see more of what they do.
Nice. I enjoy that movie as well.
Yeah.
It's a good one. My third least favorite 5-star movie that starts with a B is from 1999. It's Being John Malkovich, which is, I would say, arguably Spike Jonze's best movie.
That's arguable.
Better than Three Kings? Better than Her?
Spike Jonze didn't direct Three Kings.
Oh, that was
he is
David.
in it. He is in it.
Yeah, who's the guy who did Three Kings? David O. Russell.
David O. Russell, yes.
Yep. Okay.
I think Adaptation is a better movie, and I personally think Where the Wild Things Are is a better movie.
Well, that's a personal thing.
That's definitely
I said it was a
personal
personal thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I claimed.
Did Spike Jonze direct Adaptation?
Yes.
Okay, then I agree with Zach. That's the better movie.
Adaptation is good. I'll give you that. But Being John Malkovich starts with a B. So that's why it's on this list.
So does Babylon.
Not Adaptation. Babylon was not directed by Spike Jonze.
I'm just saying it starts with a B.
Are you just naming random B movies?
I'm just saying if I had to put a Spike Jonze movie on this list, it would be Being John Malkovich because it starts with a B. And it's the only movie that starts with a B that he directed.
Okay, fair enough.
This movie was produced by Michael Stipe. Did you guys know that?
I mean, is he like an executive producer or is he just got his like associate producer?
I don't know.
He
it just says
financed
produced
it.
by.
He financed it.
Okay, so he's like the main money guy.
He financed it in whole. It was all
Okay.
all him. It was all his money.
Good job, man. So thanks,
It was
REM, for paying for
his
this movie.
idea. He's been wanting this movie his whole life.
I feel like since this movie came out in 1999, it also was in that group of movies, the Boogie Nights of the Worlds, that helped me start to take my film fandom a little more seriously. And this movie was just weird enough that it got a theater release. I remember seeing it in theater and it just kind of blowing my mind as it played out. And I just didn't know movies could be this weird and also be fun to watch. I always thought there were like two types of movies, the movies that everybody watched and then like art house movies that were like nearly unwatchable. I didn't know there was like a medium in here where you could strike a balance. And certainly I think this movie strikes that balance in humorous and interesting ways. And it stuck with me all these years. My number 3.
John Malkovich.
Mm-hmm.
Would you put him as an A-list actor, B-list, or C-list?
I think he's a B-list now, but once was an A-list. Barely.
You think he was
barely.
an A-list?
He was like lower A-list.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like had he picked the right titles or right movies, scripts, he maybe could have moved up to like mid-tier A, but I think he just barely scratched the bottom of A over the course of his career, but has mostly been B.
I mean, where was his peak A-list celebrity?
Con
he was
Air.
scratching the surface.
Con Air.
Con Air. So you think before being John Malkovich was when he was A-list?
Yeah. I mean, that's why they made a movie like this. Because he's like a B-list actor that you'd never imagine was an A-list actor.
Mm-hmm.
He's like one of these guys that everybody knew his name, even though he was never the top of the marquee. And so naming a movie about being John Malkovich, he's just kind of an interesting actor. And that's why it would be weird to be him, among other reasons.
Is this the only movie that has a real actor's name in the title?
I don't know for a fact that that statement's true. But I do believe there's probably at least one other movie out there that's named after an actor.
What was that Nicolas Cage one that came out a year or two ago with Pedro Pascal?
I don't think it had his name in it.
His name wasn't in it? Okay.
There's no biopics that's the name of an actor.
I mean, there's Chaplin. There you go. That's
yeah,
a biopic.
Chaplin. There you go.
That's the name of an actor. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. What about if it's not a biopic?
Okay.
If it's not a biopic, I don't know. We'll have to look into it. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I personally think that John Malkovich, I don't quite consider him a household name anymore, but I think at least 20% of his fame is because he had a movie named after him.
And people want to know who's this guy?
Zeitgeist. Well, no, it's just like people are more familiar with his name because there's this movie that has his name. Like what a bump. It's quite the bump.
So there's a movie called The Gracie Allen Murder Case, and it stars an actress named Gracie Allen.
And
there's also one called Buck Benny Rides Again, and the lead actor, his real name was Buck Benny.
The first one sounds like a documentary. It's not a documentary.
No, these are old movies from like the 40s.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay.
Calling Wild Bill Elliot, starring Bill Elliot.
Okay.
So I think this was a thing that Abbott and Costello in Hollywood.
Sure. Yeah.
True. Okay.
So this is a thing that used to happen, but I guess the harder question would be, since the, I don't know, 80s, has anybody done this other than being John Malkovich? I don't know.
Okay. Well, my number 3 is my 5th favorite movie of all time.
All right.
So it's surprising that it's only at my number 3. It makes you wonder what my 2 and 1 are.
Not Braveheart. We know that for sure.
It's not Braveheart, which is my favorite movie of all time.
So did you not order your list just by your top 100 minus Braveheart?
No, absolutely. These are my favorite B movies. So just because it starts with a B doesn't mean I just go by my top 100. Is this one the most favorite of the B movies? No, it's my 3rd favorite.
But but on a different list, it's higher than these other movies?
Yeah, of my favorite movies of all time, it's number 5.
So how can this movie be number 5 all time, but then be lower than these other movies?
The other 2 movies are better B movies.
Correct.
This
Thank
concept.
Number 3.
We get to see. I'm doing a veto.
From 2005. No, we're doing 36 of these.
36.
Yeah.
What other letters are we including?
We're 0 through 9.
When we get to 2, I'm not going to do 2001: Space Odyssey. Just play it, everyone.
Do it. I dare you. That would be a 2001 movie, not a 2 movie. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
Brick from 2005.
Nice.
This is Rian Johnson. My first introduction to Rian Johnson is probably everyone's first introduction to Rian Johnson.
No. Most people have never seen Brick.
I would say like Last Jedi is most people's introduction to Rian Johnson.
Probably.
Clearly the most famous Rian Johnson movie, Brick. It stars JGL.
Mm-hmm.
And James and I have independently both been to a filming location of this film
within a week of each other for some reason.
Is it the school? The same location?
Yeah, we went to the school.
Do you remember which town the school is in, Zach?
No, I don't.
San Clemente, California.
Nice. Fantastic. I love Brick. Brick is amazing. It's incredible. It's underseen. It is a neo-noir, which means it is a noir that's shot in contemporary setting. And yes, thank you. Everything is contemporary except the dialogue is not. The dialogue is straight out of a 40s pulpy detective novel.
Right. So you've got these teenagers dressed like teenagers, but not talking like teenagers.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Talking like these hardened detective criminal, people. It's amazing. The cinematography is great. It's about a guy whose girlfriend goes missing and he tries to figure out what happened to her. And there's femme fatales. There's like toughs. It's great. It's the best. Love Brick so much. And you should see it. My number 3 favorite B movie.
Kyle, thoughts on Brick? Have you seen that movie?
Only once.
Okay.
And I did not know that it was teenagers talking in like a 40s noir style. So I was off put at when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of got into it. I need to see it again, especially since it's Zach's number 5 movie of all time, but his number 3 B movie of all time.
Yes. So 2 reasons to see it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I know other people that saw it once and were turned off by it. And then once I explained to them why it is the way it was, they rewatched it and were like, actually, it's pretty great. And I was like, yeah, they need to just put a title card at the beginning that's like, here's why people will be talking weird in this movie for like the people that are slow to it or something like that. I don't know. I think it's a fair criticism if you're not expecting it, for sure.
It's got a great kabuki scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
Love kabuki scenes. Love them. We should do that list.
Top 10 kabuki scenes?
Yep. I would love to give my number 2, but first I'm going to let Kyle do his.
Oh, well, thank you, James. I appreciate that.
Always the gentleman.
My number 2 has no kabuki scenes, but my number 2 is related to 2 B movies in my top 100. That I would have included on this list if I made the list that you guys made, but I didn't. So I'm not going to talk about Back to the Future. It's like top 15 movie for me. It's great. I love Back to the Future.
You're talking
I'm not talking about
it.
Back to the Future 2. It's a top 10 movie for me. It's actually my number 10.
Talking about this
It
one
is
too.
superior to Back to the Future in many ways, but I'm not going to talk about that one.
The third one's the best Back to the Future movie.
Instead, I'm going to talk about my third favorite, but still great, Back to the Future 3.
The best of the series.
No.
No.
Yes.
But it's a good
Mary
movie, though.
Steenburgen.
I know. No, I agree that there are many great things about Back to the Future 3, hence why it's my number 2 on this list.
No.
But it is not as great as Back to the Future or Back to the Future 2.
Well, that's not true.
Back to the Future 3 is super fun. In this case, they go back to the Old West. And Marty has to rescue Doc from the Old West. The setup is super cool, where Doc, in like 1885, writes a letter to Marty to be delivered to him in 1955, because at the end of 2, Marty's still trapped in 1955. And like this letter sat in this post office for 70 years. And then some guy shows up at this one location and says, hey, we've been having this letter. Is this actually it? And then Marty reads the letter and it's from Doc from 70 years ago. And I think that's such a cool setup. Then Marty has to go back to 1885 to go rescue Doc. Yeah, Mary Steenburgen is in it. Doc rescues her from a runaway horse, whatever.
Buggy. Horse cart.
Buggy, which is pretty great.
Carriage?
Yeah, carriage. That's the word. Yep, carriage. Yeah, buggy or cart are also fine.
The best train sequence of any movie.
Oh, yeah, with the track that's running out at the end. Yep.
Yeah.
If I was to have a complaint about Back to the Future 3, there's actually 2 of them. One is it kind of like hits all the hits. I mean, part of the fun of the Back to the Future movie is the circular nature of it all. Like they seem to redo a lot of the same scenes and have similar dialogue. And that's kind of fun. But like 2 is so original plot-wise. I mean, 1 had an original plot. 2 built upon that, which I thought was great. 3 is kind of the plot of 1 more or less again. So it's not quite as interwoven as I go with number 2. And then there is a dance scene. What they're having some sort of celebration. What's the word for that? I don't know what it is. There's some celebration. There's a dance.
A hoe dance?
And a hoedown. Sure. There's a hoedown.
Hoedown right now.
Yes.
Hoe dance. Hoedown.
Hoedown. And this is a me issue, but like there's one fiddle song they play for the entire scene, and it's like 8 measures long, and they just repeat it over and over again. And like they're all dancing to this fiddle song, which is great. And then there's like long conversations happening like between Biff and everyone. And that damn fiddle still playing in the background over and over again. It just really bothers me. So.
Typical
Band Guy stuff. I just wish they could like have written more than one line of fiddle song and then keep repeating it over and over again.
It's a great fiddle riff though.
But you know what I'm talking about, Zach, right? Because they just play it over and over and over again.
I wish it was over every Back to the Future movie.
You just want that constant fiddle
I liked
riff
it. Yeah, I liked
playing
it.
over them. Isn't ZZ Top the fiddlers in that movie?
Yes, they are.
Yes, I think that's great. The ZZ Top cameo.
And the invention of the Frisbee.
Yep. How he channels Clint Eastwood.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. It's not it's the second one. It's a few dollars more. That's he takes the idea from a few dollars more. So
deep cut.
Yeah, there's so many great things about Back to the Future 3. And that's why it's my number 2 on this ridiculous list that I made.
And you've seen the kid that has to like go to the bathroom?
Oh yeah, who's like pointing at himself?
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah, and then like there's all these conspiracy theories about like what's Hollywood up to. It's like he had to go to the bathroom, people. Chill out. Yeah.
He was signaling to all the adults in the room that he had to go pee-pee.
I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah. They're like, hey, we're filming right now.
Yeah.
That's a good one, but it's not better than the first one and the second one, for sure.
No, I agree with you, James. But I'm not making a list of my favorite B movies of all time.
Why
These are
would
my
you?
favorite B movies.
Why would you?
Why make the list that we decided on?
Right.
What a crazy idea.
My second least favorite 5-star movie that starts with a B.
Can I just say,
yes,
Zach, when I did my number 20 favorite B movie, which was my number 10, you just right away squashed me.
Yeah.
You seem to have no problem with James doing this whole my least favorite, second favorite B movie.
Well, what I'm saying makes sense.
If I were to try to squash James, would he double down and do it way more?
Oh,
Yes.
so you're saying I need to double down and then you will not squash my joy?
No. They all should be squashed. In an ideal world, squashing happens to both of you. It's just James is unsquashable. He will bury our podcast in math.
But
he will
Zach,
burn the podcast down in numbers.
Why enable him though?
I'm not enabling him.
You are enabling him.
I've been enabled. I don't need any
saying
enabling.
anything. You are enabling. James, I'm going to say this right now. I want us to stop recording. I'm going to stop recording. Okay. We're going to delete the last 2 hours and 2 minutes we have here.
No.
We're going to start again and we're going to squash it, James.
I want to say for the record,
No.
I believe James lied to us and that Braveheart will be his number 1. That is what I believe. So number 2 is not
that
gonna be
is
Braveheart.
that's not true. It's 100% not true. I'm sharing my screen just to prove that is not true. My number 2 is Braveheart from 1995. All right. Are you happy?
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you, sir? Yeah. Braveheart. Great movie. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make this list, because I'd be the same thing. Back to the Future 2. Great.
But you did say that.
You were right,
I
Kyle.
did.
Is that what you want to hear? You were right. All right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I was right.
The thing he's lamenting, he'd already said.
I know.
He went through all the Back to the Future movies and said they're great. My number 2 has not been mentioned yet, which is a shame because it is my favorite B movie besides my top one. It is 1948's Bicycle Thieves. And
I've seen it. Just
You
didn't
have
make my top
seen
10.
it?
I don't think either of you like it.
It's a 4-star movie for me.
Okay.
I don't like the genre.
Meaning
Sure.
black and white movies from.
No, meaning Italian neorealism.
I'm pretty sure that's the only Italian neoclassic realism movie I've ever seen, and I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, I've seen a bunch, and I like one of them, and I tolerated to hated the rest.
You should watch. You should come on, Kyle. If I liked it, you should rewatch Bicycle.
Oh, I
Thieves,
have. I watched it
clearly.
twice. I have. Because I saw it once,
Mhm.
and I'm not going to let Zach talk about this whatsoever. I'm going to talk about why I didn't like it. I saw it once. It was fine. And then
Mhm.
Zach was like, I love that movie. And he told me all these great things about it, which he's going to tell us again. So I watched it again, knowing that Zach loves this movie and looking for all those things. And I felt exactly the same the second time I watched it.
I think how long ago was that?
I don't know. Let's let Zach talk, and I will look up the last time I watched Bicycle Thieves. I did log it.
Oh, we're going to be waiting with bated breath.
No, go ahead, Zach, and I'll just interrupt you when I figure it all out.
Bicycle Thieves is so good. I think it's a testament to cinema that it can capture such powerful realism and like raw emotion into a film. It makes you care about a bicycle so much, and this family and this father and this son and their plight and the ethical and moral decisions they have to make as they search for their stolen bicycle. It's a context you don't share, but like there's so much universality in what they're dealing with that unless you know, I guess if you have something wrong with your heart, like it's like, you know, stunted or broken or something like that, you can't help but be moved by this film. I will say what gripped me about this film, where I first fell in love with this film. In the first 10 minutes, they have a conversation about laundry. And I was so amazed at this conversation about laundry. I didn't know that a movie could talk about laundry. I'm being serious. Could talk about laundry this authentically. And it was just, from then I was completely sold, and it did not let me down at all. It has a killer ending, really makes you want to think about things. It's a very special movie. Now that I've said all that, I think we're all waiting to hear when Kyle watched it last. So Kyle.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, guys, this movie starts with a conversation about laundry. That's just giving you an idea right away what this movie's going to be about.
So good.
Those are my favorite movies.
I've seen this movie twice. The first time was August of 2012. And then I watched it again in November of 2017.
So you haven't seen it in like 6 years.
I don't need to see it again. What?
Yeah, you need to rewatch it, clearly.
No, I don't.
He watched this pre-COVID. He watched this... Yeah, the Barack Obama years. Come on,
I need to rewatch all movies that I did not see pre-COVID. That's
2017 was not Barack Obama years.
Yes, you're right. It wasn't. Yeah,
Trump years.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna color how he sees this movie.
I agree.
Oh, for sure. Also, this movie in the original Italian is called Ladre di Biciclette. So
Laundry le Biciclette?
Laundry. As in a thief, a larder. Di Biciclette. I don't know what larder means, a thief. But so this isn't a B movie, Zach. This is an L movie.
That was good. I like that, Kyle. I think he's right. I think you have to strike it and come up with a new one.
Yeah.
It's the only valid criticism that I've heard about this movie.
I let baby slide because in French it is bébé, which is also a B. So I'm like, okay, well, babies, that's fine. But yeah,
have you been translating every movie on my list?
Only the foreign ones.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a French movie. You got to go with the original title, and that's not a B movie.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Well, it's an Italian movie.
Well, whatever. Italian, French, whatever. Same difference.
No, I think it's a fair criticism.
Do you know what the tagline is to Bicycle Thieves on Letterboxd?
No.
The prize picture they want to censor.
Interesting. I wonder if it was like there's something in it that at the time would have been censored.
Yeah, I wonder who they
like
is.
politically.
Yeah, it's probably because it's a very real presentation of post World War II Italy.
I mean, don't Italian films, aren't they like kind of famous, like the Italian government for censoring things?
Well, it was a fascist government for a long time.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah. And I mean, this one is 48. So it was like one of the first post World War II movies about Italian society.
Yeah. Well, my number 2 favorite L movie.
Nice. Kyle?
All right, my number 1. And I put this in number 1 because this movie felt like I don't think it was a core memory movie, but this definitely a movie that helped mold me into the movie nerd I've become. James, you're talking about some of these movies that you saw that were like very influential. I'm like, oh, this is how movies could be done and could be made. And this is definitely one for me. And it is 1969's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. This stars Paul Newman and Robert Redford, as well as Catherine Ross. And they play Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid. And they're two, I guess, Wild West criminals is the best way to put them. So they're robbing places, but they're also just trying to like build a simple lives for themselves. But the only way they can do that is by being criminals. They don't know another way to build a life for themselves. And they are being chased throughout this whole movie by a posse that is trying to bring them down for their criminal ways. This movie, for whatever reason, really spoke to me the first time I saw it. And it kind of made me see like movies in a new light and saying, oh, there's other ways you can make movies besides like a lot of us watching as a kid, right? We're kind of kid movies. And this is one of the first like more adult oriented movies that I saw, as well as like of this era, of this sort of new Hollywood era. So I really latched on to Paul Newman in this movie. He is so charming, both in this movie, just as an actor in general. Robert Redford I've seen before, like in Sneakers, but I was like, oh, that guy from Sneakers. I got to see him again in this. And then just the filmmaking itself stood out to me, especially the ending. You guys remember how this movie ends?
Yeah.
It's a very famous ending, and it doesn't quite, like it alludes to what's going to happen, but it doesn't quite tie it all up.
It's a shootout in the street, right?
Kind of.
I mean,
yes.
it comes straight from 400 Blows, that ending, right?
I would say it's a similar ending to 400 Blows, yes. But I had not seen the 400 Blows before I had seen this movie. So,
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, for me, this movie it really just stood out to me as like, oh, this is another way to make a movie that I had never seen before. And it got me really interested in sort of pursuing more classic Hollywood movies.
Nice. My favorite movie that starts with the letter B and only the letter B is Back to the Future from 1985. Great movie. Pretty much set the template, as far as I'm concerned, for good time travel movies. Funny, fast paced, perfect script, perfect casting, flawless film. My number 1, Back to the Future. Zach?
Heard of it. My number 1 favorite B movie of all time has 2 B's in it, and it's the best B movie.
Okay.
From 1995. It is Babe. This is the heartwarming story of an orphan pig named Babe.
Mm-hmm.
He's adopted by a border collie family on a farm, and he learns from them the ways of sheep herding. And in fact, he saves his life from being ham by being useful to the farmer in the sheep herding thing. This movie is so great. It's so great. First of all, it's a little weird, right? So it's not a kid's movie necessarily, because it's got this weirdness to it. It's got like a little Tim Burton-esque to it, right? Yeah. But then it's also so just heartwarming and charming, right? You have a main character, this pig, is just the most positive, enthusiastic, happy-go-lucky character I think I've ever seen in any movie, right? Can you guys think of someone that has more just like optimistic enthusiasm than Babe?
Yeah, I would say Truman from the Truman Show.
He gets a little dark at the end. Doesn't he threaten his wife's life?
Ned Flanders from Groundhog Day?
Ned Ryerson from
Ned
Groundhog
Ryerson.
Day.
Ned Ryerson. Sorry, not Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. Ned Ryerson.
Even he gets a little weirded out when Phil, gets too touchy feely.
Sally Hawkins from Happy Go Lucky.
I know nothing about that reference. I love a good happy-go-lucky, enthusiastic, optimistic pig character.
Sure.
Pig character. Okay.
One of my favorites. It's got border collies, which I love border collies. The farmer is a man of few words, but when he uses those words, it's like the best words. It's got like tension and stakes and it's so good. It's a perfect movie. I've seen the second one. I don't like the second one.
Oh, the second one's dark.
So it's a different vibe. This first one is so like just heartwarming and positive and beautiful.
The second one was directed by George Miller, director of the Mad Max movies.
Right.
And both of them were written by George Miller.
The man can write a movie.
If you said that the first one has tinges of Tim Burton, the second one feels a straight Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
I've seen both. Can't remember a frame of either.
You can't remember a frame of Babe?
I mean, not really. I remember there's a pig in it.
Do you remember what he says to
So
the
maybe
sheep
I
to
remember
herd
a
them?
frame.
Are you at all tempted to rewatch it?
I am tempted, but
I think it's special. It is not just a random movie. It's a special movie. It's a hidden gem for sure.
Evidently it's based on a book. Do you know what the name of the book was?
No.
Babe.
The Sheep-Pig. The Sheep Pig.
The Sheep Pig. That makes sense. They say that in the...
Yeah, it's an awful name for a book.
Well, they changed it for the movie.
Yeah.
It's just Babe.
James, I think you should rewatch it, if only to have like a memory of it, to know what it is.
It's important for me to have a memory of Babe.
I don't know. Could be.
I'm more likely to rewatch it just because I want to rewatch Pig in the City, because George Miller directed that, and George Miller, his filmography is wacky. I mean, it's like Mad Max, Babe, Happy Feet, Mad Max. It's wild. That guy's career, I don't know what he was doing.
Doing whatever he wants.
Yep, for sure.
Zach, what number is this on your top 600 list, Babe?
I'll look.
I think it's top 100.
Oh no, it's top 20. I'm sure. Let me actually get you the real number.
Okay,
I was right. It's in your top 100.
So it is lower on your list than Brick, because Brick's your number 5.
Babe is my number 26.
Okay, and Brick's your number 5, correct?
Yeah.
So why, I still understand why Brick is number 3.
Babe has 2 B's in it.
Babe is number 1.
And 50% of the letters in that movie are B's.
I don't think that's Zach's reasoning.
I think it was.
Babe has 2 B's in it.
Right.
50% of the letters are B's.
Yeah. That's exactly what James just said.
I know. Zach and I are on the same wavelength. I know why he put it there.
You guys are just ranking these by a number of B's?
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. No.
So
Babe is much more of a B movie than Brick.
How is it more of a B? What do you? What is
There's
it?
There's 2 B's in the title and 50% of the letters are B.
And not just that. It has the optimism of B. It has the
optimism.
Yes.
Are we assigning traits to letters?
Look, if the main character in Brick was named Brick, then maybe it would have some competition. But literally, the name character is a pig that their name starts with a B.
Babe.
Name another movie where the main character's name starts with a B.
I'll wait.
Besides Barry Lyndon.
That was on my list.
There's The Big Lebowski.
Wait, that's a T
The
movie.
guy's name is Big.
The main Lebowski, he's referred to as the Big Lebowski.
I thought he was
There's
just Lebowski.
No, yeah, Jeff Bridges is Lebowski.
Are you trying to argue that Babe is not a B movie?
No. Babe is a B movie. I still understand
Hands
why
down.
you put it higher than Brick if Brick is number 5.
Because
is my
Babe
number
is
5
clearly
favorite
more of a
movies.
B movie.
Wait, say again, Zach?
Brick is my number 5 favorite movie.
Yeah.
Babe is my favorite B movie.
But Brick is also a B movie. So
Yes.
wouldn't that henceforth then Brick be your favorite?
It just
B
doesn't
movie?
embody the B letter as much as Babe does.
B doesn't have a personality. We're not in
It
kindergarten.
absolutely does. It absolutely does.
Here's
It's boastful.
Mr. B.
It's brash.
He's so round and happy.
It's brave.
You've been teaching letters to your children too much. You're assigning traits to them. Ooh, Daddy's mad. Here comes Mr. D. He's pretty grumpy.
The Daddy's Mad audio file that you play, James, sounds so much like his
actual
mad.
voice. Yeah. People will not know when you're playing it and when he's saying it. Because there's already been times that I thought he said it.
Good job,
and
Daddy.
I didn't realize you played it.
Yeah. I don't know, guys.
Okay, if you're listening right now, please write in and let me know if you think Babe is more of a B movie than Brick.
And if you're sane, please write in and let me know that too.
I think
this from
you
the
don't have
guy
to go
who,
into
like,
the vibes of the movie.
he
It's
did
literally
his
the letters.
Top
proves it.
11 through 20.
Yeah.
It's not even 11 through 20 because I left Barry Lyndon off.
Yeah,
It's kind of a
12
random
through 21.
assortment of movies that I wanted to talk about. That
I almost put The Postman on this. No, I'm just
Where's the B in the Postman? Is it a B missing the bottom?
I'm joking.
Thank you for joining us for this list, top 10 movies that start with the letter B. Mostly that was the list we went through. Don't forget, you can always send us an email to heyguys@cinereelists.com. You could follow us on YouTube at Cinereelists. You could support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Cinereelists. You could leave us an Apple Podcast review, or you could follow us on social media at Cinereelists on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram. Also, don't forget, make your Oscar picks using the link in the description of this episode. Click that link, join our Oscar pool, make your picks, and have a little friendly competition amongst friends of the pod in our absolutely free Oscar pool at the link in the description. You could also follow me on my social media accounts on Twitter, Blue Sky, or Letterboxd at YoJRB.
You can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd at Shaban.
Find me on my favorite B app, Letterboxd, Peter SKB.
Absolutely. Next week, we will be doing our Oscar picks, and we're going to play a little bit of games. So no movie homework this week. Just come on back for the Oscar picks fun. We're going to go through all the nominations and make our will win and should win picks and play some movie trivia games. So look forward to that. We'll see you guys there. Until then, keep it cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.